What's up, everybody? I'm coming in full color. Now available in Technicolor. What's up, everybody? A comment triggered me yesterday. They said I was in black and white to hide the red. Like I'm ashamed of my fucking red hair. My hair is beautiful, motherfucker. Yeah, so I'm in color today. I'll be back in black and white, but I just wanted to prove a point that the black and white is a aesthetic touch. You know, trying to make the stream look nice. I'm trying. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. We're going to be talking about reacting to the debate last night between Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones, which I caught a little bit of it like about an hour in. It seemed interesting. I'm like, let's just save it because there's probably going to be no news tomorrow and it'll give me something to fucking talk about. But we'll get to it. What's up, everybody? If you haven't, smash the thumbs up. Help get this out to more people. And if you want to support the show, you can become a member. It's in the description. Send a super chat. Your message will be read on air. Or, yeah, just smash the thumbs up. And I think we already got one gifted membership from Be Unstoppable. Thank you, Be Unstoppable. You rock, dude. Double Denim. Welcome, Double Denim. Welcome back. I think this is not the first time you've been a member. Let's get to it. What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's doing good. Let me get to the full screen react and get this off of here. Let's just get right into the Alex Jones-Nick Fuentes debate. Now, a lot of people who've watched me before know I'm not really a huge Nick Fuentes fan. I do agree with him on a lot of things. I'm sure like we probably agree on 80% of the things, you know? But I don't like the identity politics aspect to what he's doing. It seems kind of like he's kind of being a race grifter because there's a lot of money to be made in race grifting. You know, look at the the fucking Sharptons, the Al Sharpton, right? The Al Sharptons of the world and the fucking a million other race grifters. So I don't know. When I start hearing this identity politics shit, I just like, I don't know. I don't trust this guy. How does this help your message? But I'm willing to hear him out because he's turned on Trump. He doesn't support Trump anymore. I'm like this close from not supporting Trump. So they're going to have a debate over whether we should still support Trump after this Epstein fiasco. So I'm going to listen to both sides and we'll see. We'll see who's the more persuasive one here. But yeah, let's get to it. Full Alex Jones, Nick Fuentes debate. If you want to go watch the debate, you can, I'm sure it might already be uploaded on some channel on YouTube. If you don't want me interrupting, because I will be interrupting a lot. You can go to Alex's Twitter, Alex Jones's Twitter, or, you know, Infowars.com. There's a lot of places to go watch this without me interrupting. So stop the complaining. All right, let's get to it.
And then he came out later and said, no, it's me. Don't ask questions. Shut up about it.
Starting it from the beginning.
This is incredibly suspicious. And now they're running around with the Justice Department meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell. It looks bad. But people taking what I've said out of context when I'm wargaming this because I think they would have used information against Trump if they had it before. But that said now, the jury's out on Trump. The jury's in on the Democrats and Epstein Island and Bill Gates and Larry Summers and all the rest of it. So I'm not an
I've said this before because one of the copes is that, you know, the Democrats wouldn't have released it, right? Because the Democrats, if there was all this shit about Trump in there, the Democrats could have released this during the fucking campaign, during the election cycle last year, and destroyed Trump's campaign. It would have destroyed it. But then they go, oh, but Clinton's in there. And you're telling me they can't just, like, the Democrats are the best at fucking manipulating context. You're telling me they couldn't have just taken the stuff that makes Trump look bad, which I'm sure there's a ton in there that makes Trump look bad, and just released that and left out the Clinton stuff? You're telling me they couldn't have figured out a way to do that? So it is a little weird that nothing came out about this until now. Because you would think if there was so much there about Trump, it would have fucking came out. To the point where they're like making up shit about him. And if there was this big fucking scandal with something he did with, you know, with the kiddos, how would they have not put that out, dude? So that is one question I still have that I think is not properly answered. Because the other side says, well, because the Clintons, no, they could have just put out the Trump stuff. They could have just chosen just to put out the stuff that makes Trump look bad and keep buried everything else.
Apologist for Trump. All I get is persecuted and attacked for supporting President Trump. And I've seen clips of Nick. I played it earlier before he came on. And I'm not saying it's a wrong critique, but you know, out of context, you could see it. No, I'm looking for the truth. And my issue is, do we throw out Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard and all the good things that are happening? If stuff comes out that he's screwing kids with Trump, of course, I'm going to expose it. I mean, I'm not tied to that wagon. But in the larger issue, is the Epstein issue the only issue? And it's not like Nick Fuentes just came out and said, I'm against Trump now. He said it a year and a half ago. He was a big supporter early on. That's how I met him 9 years ago. I think Nick's a smart guy, and I agree with most of the things he says. Disagree with some. So
when I heard Nick win against Trump, again, I could be wrong, but I'm suspicious that Nick might be compromised because of his January 6th involvement and the fact that he never got. Didn't he get no charges or anything? I gotta look that up again because it's so hard to find information from that time. But I remember videos of like Nick stoking up the crowd on January 6th. But yeah, for some reason, him and then that other guy, what was his name? Epps or something? The guy who was fucking telling people to storm the Capitol. Like, for some reason, those guys don't get any charges. Very suspicious.
Oh,
but who knows?
We're having a
Maybe
large
there's something I don't understand about that
debate here. But I want to be 100% clear. I will go where the facts lead. I'm not an apologist for Trump. But at the same time, we need to recognize that the Democrats and the ADL and the Republicans joining him do not want this discussion. They do not want Nick J. Fuentes on Rumble. They do not want Alex Jones on X or InfoWars. They do not like this tonight because they don't want you to hear a real, unfiltered discussion. Because I sent Nick a text like last Tuesday and said, will you come on debate? He said, yeah, how about next Wednesday night? I said, great, we're doing it. That's the only discussions we've had. All right? And so this isn't some scripted debate. This is a real discussion. And it's not about who's smarter, and it's not about, I don't mind all that stuff. Nick's 26 years old, super smart. Thought he was smart when I first met him 9 years ago. That's why I have Nick on. He's a great interview. He's great for the show. I've got a big show. It's not about personalities. To me, it's about really figuring out what's happening.
There might be points where I'm going to skip
open
ahead.
the debate, and I'll give the floor for the next 10 minutes. I want to be clear, if you actually watch my show, I'm not running defense for Trump. I don't know what the truth is. I'm completely freaked out. I've said Trump's acting insanely guilty. And I've only wargamed every angle of this trying to figure out what's going on. Because I do a 4-hour show. And the Democrats ran stuff nationwide saying I've turned.
One thing I don't like about Nick Fuentes is his hair. I don't like that straight fucking, there's no part. It's just weird. It's kind of weird, the hair.
On Trump 23 days ago.
But I know that's petty. But I'm just saying, I look at his hair and it's, I'm just saying.
I don't care about being on CNN, ABC, and NPR and every other channel. Those people don't listen to me anyways. But they take little 10-second clips out of context. I know they do that. I just don't want Nick and my viewers to do that. I want you to listen to what I'm actually saying. Clearly, Epstein's Mossad. The CIA has asked Trump to cover it up. I think that's a no-brainer. The question is Trump involved? If he was, where is the evidence? So I haven't figured this out yet. And all I'm doing is stream of consciousness. What you get on my show is what I'm thinking. No scripting, no nothing. And usually my job's easy. Is fentanyl good? No. Is open borders good? No. Is war with Russia good? No. Is Israel attacking Iran? No. My job 95% of the time is very easy. It's these type of issues where I can tell the listeners, I don't know. So, Nick, you've got the floor to say whatever you want here. I'm going to shut up for about 10 minutes because I've been talking for about 5. And then I'm going to ask you the question after that. Maybe you can address it now. Okay, we can send Trump to Mars. What comes next? Is this accelerationism? What if Kamala was in? Would that be better? Maybe it would because it pisses off.
I think we need to be finding the next outsider. We need to find the next outsider and probably do a better job of vetting them before Trump. I think the quicker we can get ahead of the game and like have that next guy who we have a little bit of hope is going to go in there and actually, dismantle most of the federal government, because that's what needs to be done. I think we do need to be thinking about, because Trump's done. Like, he's a lame duck at this point. We do need to figure out who's next, because if we don't, we're not going to have anybody. It's going to be fucking, J.D. Vance versus, I don't know, Gavin Newsom or some shit. It's going to be horrible.
More, I just don't know. So this is one of the few issues where I will tell listeners, I don't know. And all I can do is war game each scenario. And I would just ask people to realize, if you see a 30-second clip, actually go see what I said, because I will then say something completely different. because I'm wargaming and don't know. So Nick is simulcast this on Rumble, Nick J. Fuentes, and on X. Great to have you, Nick. Thank you so much for the time.
Hey, Alex, great to be with you. Yes, well, we did promote this as a debate and we hyped it up and everything. But I agree with you. I think it is more fruitful as a discussion.
So now it's not a debate? I thought this whole time it was going to be a fucking debate. Did you just, come on, you guys better yell at each other.
Because like you, I think me and the audience, we're trying to get to the truth. We want to know what is really going on here. And I also agree with you that we don't know. That's sort of the nature of it. That's why people have a problem. We just don't know because the government is not releasing the files. And this Epstein scandal has been like many of the other scandals concerning the deepest and most sordid types of corruption. It's concealed, it's hidden. There is not government transparency. And without transparency, there can't be accountability. And so all of this is happening inside of the shadows. Now, that gets to my biggest criticism of Trump. And you said this a moment ago, and I understand where you're coming from. You say, are there other issues besides the Epstein issue? I've heard a lot of people say this. They say that for the MAGA base, which I consider myself a part of, even though I didn't vote for Trump, I'm the demographic. If the MAGA base is in revolt over the Epstein files, people say, are you throwing out the baby with the bathwater? What about the secure border? What about the progress that's being made, as you say, by RFK Jr., by Tulsi Gabbard, the good things that are happening in the administration? Is it worth it? In other words, people say, if he's failing on one narrow issue like Epstein, which people say realistically doesn't actually affect people's daily lives, they say, is that a mistake? Now, my position is that you can't compartmentalize these issues. Contrary to that take or that defense, I don't think you're capable. I don't think it's possible to separate and cordon off the Epstein issue and say that's over here, and immigration and foreign policy and the rest of it is over there. Because the proposition of the first Trump campaign going back 10 years ago in 2016, or even in 2015 when Trump ran in the primary, he said that the reason that our politicians had failed us over 30 years on both sides, Republican side, Democrat side, the right and the left, he said is not for a lack of trying, not for a lack of will. He said it's because the system has failed us. It's because of corruption. They can't deliver a real victory because they're not beholden to the people. Instead, they're beholden to foreign interests.
I totally agree with this point. Like, everything stems from the corruption of our government. And Epstein is like, it's one of the huge threads to unravel if you're trying to unravel that. So yeah, I agree totally with Nick at this point.
Special interests, donors, political PACs. And there was a suggestion of blackmail. There's a suggestion of a shadow operation happening behind the scenes. So why do we get these policies that are bad for America, like free trade, foreign wars, mass migration?
Dude, stop showing Kash Patel's stupid fucking face and his dumb psychopath eyes. Please.
Said, well, it's because the politicians are not really the ones running the country. They're not running the country on behalf of the voters or the people, but rather they're being. Look how terrible, Dan. But this is when they came out and said that Epstein definitely didn't kill himself. Definitely killed himself. And there's nothing to see here. I've never seen anybody look so fucking miserable in my life in a still shot. Dan Bongino right there. Being controlled by the money or the intelligence agencies or by some shadow element, the nature of which we don't fully understand. Now, he said, in contravention of all of this, I will run and I will deliver the real victories. I will reverse all the policies because I'm not controlled by those interests. And there was this foil with him and Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton personified that system. And she did come from the Democrat side, but she personified realistically both sides. The Bush dynasty, the Clinton dynasty, the Republicans, the Democrats, the Dennis Hasterts, and the Bill Clintons. Hillary Clinton was the epitome of corruption and the epitome of globalism. And so at 16, you have this proposition of, I'm going to run with no foreign influence, no blackmail. I'm going to fight the corruption and then deliver the victory. Now, fast forward 10 years later, and Trump seems to be covering up what is really the scandal of all scandals. It's the worst kind of scandal. It's got every negative attribute involved. It's children, it's sexual trafficking, it's blackmail, it's foreign intelligence, it's billionaire oligarchs. And you say, if Trump is covering that up, we lose faith in him. He loses all credibility as that leader, as that Caesar-like leader, this once-in-a-generation figure leading a once-in-a-generation populist movement. It strips it of that character. And to get maybe a lot of this is rhetoric. Let's make it more concrete. If Trump is burying the Epstein files, which we don't know the information because that's exactly what's happening, and we'll get into that, I'm sure, as the night progresses. But if Trump is burying these Epstein files and we can't trust him, it leads to questions like, why are we not getting mass deportations? Why are we getting a war with Iran? The timing of all this is a little conspicuous too. Is it because there's maybe more to the story? Do we have to draw a negative inference that he's covering these things up because he's named in them, because he's a participant in them? He's compromised by them in some way. Is that why we're not getting what's delivered? And how can we trust that he will deliver in the future? So to answer maybe the big...
He's definitely, in my opinion, there's still a lot of possibilities. One could be he did some shit he's trying to hide, but he's clearly working with the deep state. He's working with the corruption now. He's a part of it. And I think he was always willing to be a part of it. I think his first administration, I think he was always willing to play ball. And I think now they're playing ball with him. So he's in there now. He's finally got himself into that little elite club he couldn't get into. Or, you know, it's also a possibility that he did some shit he's trying to hide. It's just there's just too much that we don't know, unfortunately.
Defense of Trump, and I agree with you, we have to steel man the other position. We may not even agree with it. We might state it simply to entertain it. If the pro-Trump side is saying, if their argument is, well, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, the Epstein thing is a narrow, singular issue. If that's the primary defense, I would have to say it's not good enough, because if he's named in these files, then everything is compromised. Everything is touched and poisoned by the corruption. And when this cover-up is going on, unfortunately, we cannot assume that he is not touched by it. We actually have to draw a negative inference. That's sort of the whole point. And I, like you, I actually don't believe that Trump...
There are people trying to claim that this is a fake Photoshop. I think even Ghislaine was trying to say that she doesn't remember this photo and she thinks it's a Photoshop. Okay, dude.
Trump is necessarily guilty. I think that is a assumption. I think that's an inference. I don't even think it's necessarily true that Trump was on the island, or that Trump was raping kids, or that there's a videotape of Trump. I don't think that's even likely. But when he has covered it up in the way that he has, and as he's dug this hole deeper and deeper, having the DOJ cover it up, asking the FBI to look for his name. They told him his name was in there. Now he says his name was planted in there. He says the whole thing's a hoax. You actually have to draw a negative inference and assume if he's covering it up, there must be something there. If there wasn't something there, they would release the files. And so that's why I think this entire thing has disqualified him completely. I don't think it's one narrow issue, a singular issue among others. And even if it were, it's not a minimal issue. I think it touches everything. And I think the very nature of these types of cover-ups, the nature of the opacity, the fact that it's opaque, the fact that we cannot see through it, the fact that it's been covered up and there's been a deception, there's been an active cover-up, an attempt to change the subject and lie about the nature of it.
Worst case scenario, Trump was trafficking, part of the trafficking ring, or he was having women trafficked to him. Least worst case scenario is he's just working with the fucking swamp right now. And he's just willing to be a part of the swamp. That's always what he wanted. He didn't really hate the swamp. He wanted just to be a part of the swamp. That's the least worst case scenario. And then the worst case scenario is he actually, did some shit. Some, sexual shit.
We actually have to draw a negative inference, and we actually have to assume that there is something damning in there.
So again, I'm agreeing with this whole opening statement from Nick. I think he's right on.
That's why we're not getting it. And if that's the case, then that means he's corrupt and he's in on it with the rest of them. Now, I want to answer the question you said at the end, because that's actually super important. And I'll sort of treat this like an opening statement. I don't want to ramble on and on and on.
No. You got like 3 or 4 minutes left. Keep going.
Alex sounds fucking exhausted, dude. They did this one at 9 o'clock last night. So, Alex's normal show is like 11 a.m. and he's probably been up all day doing like 8 hours of shows. People are going to say, I think some of you are going to say he's drunk. I don't think he's drunk. I think he's just fucking super tired. I hope he's not hitting the bottle again, man. I don't think so.
Sure. Well, and to your point about what comes next, because that's a very good question. A lot of people wonder if Trump is failing, or that's the perception on many of these issues, like the foreign policy, like immigration, like the Epstein cover-up. Question is, well, what comes next? Are we at the mercy of the left now? Are we supposed to now just be buried under Zohran Mamdani's and Kamala Harris's and race communists and Sharia law and this sort of thing? What I would say about Trump is this simple adage: when you come at the king, you can't miss. And what does that mean? Well, obviously,
dude, Alex is not 60. Alex is, I think, barely in his 50s. Alex is not much older than me. Okay. I'm probably, I think maybe at most, I'll look up how old Alex is, but I think he's like 7, 8 years older than me.
we all understand
Alex
what that
is not
means.
that old. He's lived a hard life.
When you come for the king, you have to finish the job. You cannot take half measures.
But I want to hear this, but I don't want to miss this.
And what does that mean? Well, obviously, we all understand what that means. It means that when you come for the king, you have to finish the job. You cannot take half measures. It's actually worse to take a half measure, because if you come at the king and you miss, all you do is make the king mad. And the king has an army, and the king has power. So if Trump, and when I say the king, of course, I'm not even referring to Trump. I'm referring to this left-wing political system. If Trump has been coming at the king for 10 years with the 16 campaign, with January 6th, with the revenge campaign in 24, if that is a 10-year campaign going after the king and he's missing over and over, failing.
This is a fucking good point. I don't think people make enough. It's like, yeah, if we're going to go after the swamp, we're going to go after, let's just pretend it's like a mafia, right? You're going to go after the mafia. Well, they're going to come after you back, and you better fucking beat them. You better defeat them. Otherwise, you're fucked, and the problem's just going to be 100 times worse. Someone in the comment section made mention of Nick Fuentes' Destiny. I remember hearing about that. Was that a real thing? Was that real, or was that just a meme or a joke or a because I remember hearing there was like a leaked shit of Destiny, you know, given to people, and that Nick Fuentes was in there. Is that a real thing? I never knew if that was real or not. It sounds
to purge the bureaucracy.
It sounds too crazy to believe, to be honest.
Failing to implement Project 2025, failing to fire 50,000 employees, have the mass deportations. If it's this slow, if it's so unambitious, if he's already compromising and walking back and people are having to come up with defenses for it, well, what are we doing? All we're
It wasn't Nick, no. Yeah, it doesn't sound believable. It sounds too good to be true, to be honest.
doing is pissing off the people that really run the world.
I'm not going to go fucking research and watch those videos. I'll never watch Destiny, doing his, I'm never watching them, so I'm going to have to take your word for it.
And if you miss, they get the next reply, and they're going to come after all of us hard.
This is a
Trump,
good point.
You, me, the supporters, the people in the administration. We learned that the hard way after January 6th. You know, in a way, we kind of already did this in the first term. Trump came at the king, was not equipped, did not have the personnel, did not have the expertise. There's arguments about what went wrong, but needless to say, it didn't work. And so they came back, and it was Revenge of the Sith. It was Empire Strikes Back.
He's making a great point.
They came down hard with the vaccine mandate, with the DOJ on the J6ers, with your lawfare, with the lawfare against Ricky Vaughn, against many people. We came at the king. We missed. The king cracked down hard. Here we are again. And it feels like deja vu all over again. We're coming at the king, coming at the establishment, and people say, well, you know, what about immigration enforcement? What about these other good things that are happening? I would argue we're 6 months in. I don't know anybody that's satisfied. Now, people may be defending.
I see a lot of Trump supporters who are, that's like the shining thing they point to all the time, like his immigration. It's way better than the last administration. But yeah, I mean, things could always be better, right?
Trump and saying, hey, the best is yet to come. We passed the big, beautiful bill. We got the funding. And now in the next 6 months, we'll wrap up deportations. In the second half of the term, that's when things are really going to get underway.
Oh, and by the way, Alex Jones is, he's 51. So yeah, Alex Jones is roughly 8 years older than me. But I've not lived as hard of a life as Alex. So yeah. I don't know. I don't know how I'll look when I'm 51, but for 51, it doesn't look that bad, especially now that he's lost weight and he's kind of bulking up.
Hey, he's only 6 months in. I would argue if we didn't hit the ground running, if we don't come at it with seriousness and guns blazing, if we're playing catch up 6 months in, a year out of the midterms, it's not going to happen. They will delay, they will procrastinate, they will sabotage, they'll throw up roadblocks like they did before. And what's going to happen is when we run out the clock at the end of this term, it's going to be the same thing, except the left is going to come back even harder and even more severe. And I question then, what good were the half measures if all they did was invite this?
That's why I think we got to get ahead of the game, and we got to anoint we need a new Trump, and we need to do a better job of vetting that person. And it's, I mean, again, we could probably be fucked over again, but I'm always willing to keep trying. I'm not going to give up. So I think we do need to get a new Trump. We need a new guy who's going to be more radical, really understand what the job is, and hopefully, you know, willing to actually do the job when they get in, of actually downsizing. Because to me, you got to downsize the federal government massively. That's the only solution.
This reprisal. So that's why I really am an extreme skeptic. I know you're skeptical too. I've watched your show and we did hype it up and I said, I'm going to confront you. But if you watch your show, you've been critical and you've talked about the Israeli element. No one can say you haven't been honest if they watch your show. I know you're a critic and a skeptic as well. I'm probably more skeptical and have been far more critical. We both want the truth, but I think we're both kind of mapping out. Trump has put both of us in a predicament and the whole country. How do we now get out of it? That's really the question. So that's kind of where I'm at. And for the purpose of this debate or conversation, we could dispense with the rhetoric and just speak in practical terms. Where do we go from here? Because like you said, we're very short on answers and it's left us with a lot of questions. So
well,
that's sort of where I'm at.
Powerful 10 minutes, Nick. And I agree with everything you said. So I'm in full horror. They will indict me for sure if they get back in. I want Trump to be successful. And then I watched him 24 days ago literally come out and say through that memo, don't investigate. He killed himself. It wasn't human trafficking, though his co-conspirators in jail for it. And then they said, I got attacked by all the MAGA influencers saying you're a traitor. And then Trump, 2 days later, yeah, I'm behind it, shut it down. So I'm in full horror mode. Let me ask you this question. So I'm not going to spend 10 minutes.
Doge with the 10 gifted. Oh, you rock, dude. Thank you, Doge. I haven't seen you in a few days, Doge. Hope you're doing well. Welcome all the new members, man. You guys rock. Remember, if you want to support the show, you can gift members just like Doge did if you want to gift some members or become a member. It's pretty cheap, the lowest rung of membership, and it supports the show. Thank you, Doge. Let's see who all became a member. Hypnotio Stream, Tyler, Corey Smith, Problematic Post, Ethan Pill, John Veal, Colonel Qual, Boulder Blood. Welcome, everybody. Hector F. Traduciones. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the team. You guys rock. Thank you, Doge. Everybody tell Doge thank you, because that's 10 members is I don't know which tier he used, but I mean that's it's very generous. So thank you very much, dude.
It's countering back here. I want to hear what you have to say. How could Trump, even he was raping kids, which you said there's some evidence of that. It's obviously the CIA and Mossad's made a deal. That's what I've been told by the White House. They're like, hey, we got to make a deal with national security.
I'm glad to see you back, Doge. Thank you, guys. I mean, thank you very much, dude, for the support. It's much appreciated.
Telling you, folks, that's what it is.
You rock, dude.
At least that's what they told me. That makes sense. Why then would they bring attention to it and behave like this? Well, he's 79. He is been in 9 years, basically, as the president. I couldn't handle this at 51. And the truth is that Trump doesn't give up. He doesn't break down, but he cracks up.
This is a new angle. So because I was worried about this too. He's at that age where the dementia starts to set in for a lot of people, the dementia.
And from my sources, and I don't say this meanly, folks, I just can't lie to the audience. He can't handle the pressure.
Oh.
And
he can't handle the pressure. I can see that in a way, because every time he gets in there, like him running Trump, the candidate, which is the case for a lot of politicians, the candidate version of Trump is so much better. Once he gets into office, it's like, it just always becomes kind of a shit show, kind of a disaster. So I can believe this. And Alex is supposed to have a lot of contacts in the Trump administration, so he might be getting some insider knowledge here. That's interesting.
Instead of having, Democrat operatives at his White House, he now has Israelis. And look, I'm the guy that always said China's the main issue, the EU, the globalists, BlackRock, because Israel controlled our foreign policy in the Middle East, but they weren't, from all my research, the dominant group. So I would just say what I knew. But now, in this power vacuum, Israel is bragging in their newspapers that they're the superpower, they control Trump. Well, how do they control Trump? And we know Epstein is Mossad, Maxwell's dad, all of them. And from the best intel I have, Trump shut this down for that. And now he's pissed because the Democrats turned around, even though Trump made a deal, and are bringing it up. And that's what he's doing. And he's walked into a trap. So now he's trying to kind of extricate. So it's a nightmare. And so, listen, my listeners want me to go on Trump. I don't do what my listeners want. I do what I think's best. But at this point, I don't even know what to do because my enemies want to put me in prison, and we know they're child molesters and want the border open and everything. We know they're bad.
There's a lot in this for people like Alex because the left will come after him. And it's the first term when remember, it was 2018 when Alex was wiped off the fucking internet. What did Trump do for Alex? What did Trump do for so many of his supporters who got fucking got deplatformed, had their public voice removed overnight by every social media platform colluding to remove these pro-Trump voices? And Trump did nothing. And he's still done nothing. In fact, he might actually be working with the industrial censorship complex at this point instead of fucking dismantling it. That's one of my biggest gripes, dude.
And then now Trump's this big thing. And all I can say is Trump rode in on the populist wave and populists were everywhere. So we should not put all our eggs in this basket. But I'm also trying to decide, okay, do I want the Democrats to win the House? Trump needs to indict them for Crossfire Hurricane. He needs to release the Epstein files. He needs to stop listening to the CIA or he's doomed. I mean, I think that is clear to me that, like you said, you don't shoot at the king once and miss and then barely survive. He's gotten a second shot and we've got to take them down. He's got to do that. And so I think it's existential. If Trump doesn't go to full war and actually do something, then by extension, he's given it to the bad guys. And so I think really, at the end of the day, it's all about action. Because America will forgive him for whatever.
Yeah, he's going to leave a fucking mess behind, and then we're all just going to be fucked. We're all just going to be ripe for the picking because there's going to be... It is going to get bad, man, if everything flips back. And then they get to go they get a mandate and get to go full censorship, fully after everybody that they consider a Nazi and a white supremacist just because they have a difference of opinion. Man, I don't know. It's rough because that's probably unfortunately is probably what's going to happen. Is in 4 years it's going to flip back to a radical Dem, and we're going to get more, except a way worse version of what we got under Biden and Obama.
This is if he backs away from it and indicts them for other things they've done that are cut and dry. But if they don't, but then that's a whole other discussion, Nick. Let's talk about what Trump should do, but also what is the way out of this? Because I'm like pissed at Trump, and then I look over there and I'm like, literal shark tank of piranhas ready to eat me in the country. And I'm actually deer in the headlights at this point because I'm just like, I mean, this is a nightmare scenario.
I agree. I mean, we feel stuck. I don't feel stuck because a year ago I was saying that we would sort of end up in a similar predicament. And
no, man, let me stop you again. I'll give you 10 minutes. I said that before you came on. I said, listen, I have guests on that are consistently right. You can disagree with overall your views or whatever, but you've been dead on. So my North Star is who's the most accurate. That's why I have on. So you did predict all this, which makes me physically ill.
Did Nick predict the Epstein file shit? This is the first I'm hearing of this. If he predicted that, that's pretty high level. It also makes me wonder if he's a Fed. Because who saw this coming? I mean, I'm sure some people will say, I saw this coming, but I mean, this level of flip from Trump, I didn't see it coming, dude.
So what, look at the crystal ball, Nick Fuentes. What is going to happen, and then what do we do?
It's hard to say what is going to happen next because, you know, I was going to say we are in a way stuck. We are stuck with Trump for the next 4 years. And when I say stuck, I mean, whether you think it's good or bad, he's the president and he's in this incontestable position. That was sort of the aspect of it that was very concerning to me, which is that if you have Kamala Harris, she has no legitimacy. So a lot of people like to think, well, if Kamala won, what would that have looked like? Obviously, it would not have been as good. The economy wouldn't be as good. The border wouldn't have been as good. And that's obvious. But what was less concerning to me about Kamala against...
The good thing is we could have probably finally moved on from fucking lame duck Trump. Fucking wannabe MAGA. He's not real MAGA. At this point, he's not real MAGA. He just wore the movement like a fucking skin suit to get elected. That's what it seems like. See, again, we need to get ahead of this game here and figure out who's next. Like, who's next, man? We need somebody. Who's our fucking hero? And I've said this before. We probably need somebody who's dying of cancer. Somebody who's going to be dead in a few years so that they go in there with no fear. That might be what we need.
All of that is that she was
Scott Adams. Nah, he sucks.
a lot less stable. And not by that, I don't mean mentally. I mean that she had no legitimacy as a ruler, because she didn't win the Democrat primary fair and square and never did. Nobody would believe she won the general election. If she won, no one would accept that that was a fair and square deal. And so the regime would have been a lot less stable and would have had a lot less leeway. What I fear with Trump is that he has this cult-like status within the GOP. And when you look at the approval ratings over the past month, he has been declining with independents. He's hit a low with Democrats, as always. But his approval with Republicans has been remarkably stable. It's been stabilized at just under 90% approval.
Yeah, but are those polls, are they mostly polling the neocon segment of the Republican Party? Because, you know, a lot of MAGA voters are not Republicans. They're independents. A lot of them are even, you know, ex-Democrats who you would consider, you know, classical liberals who just got pushed to the right because the only party that kind of resembles classical liberalism right now is, believe it or not, Republicans. But I'm wondering who they're actually polling there. Because if they're polling neocons, of course the neocons are going to be fucking happy. The neocons are the fucking swamp. And Trump is playing to the swamp perfectly.
Even in spite of everything, in spite of bombing Iran, in spite of floating the amnesty deal, in spite of the Epstein files. And so you say to yourself, where do we go from here? What do we do next? We're in this sort of intractable position where there's nothing we can do because he's there and no one can challenge him. He steamrolled Congress to get the BBB. He steamrolled many of the people in the primary throughout this whole process. And so you say, if Trump is failing us, if he's failing as a guy, and I agree with you, there's some sympathy with it. You don't say it to be mean. You don't say it even necessarily to be critical, but just descriptively. This is an old man. He has been fighting for a long time. He is tired. And you can see that he can't handle it. You can see that it is a crack up, that he cannot handle these questions. And you watch these press conferences, these interviews, it's extraordinary the way he keeps digging, the way he gets asked about it and puts his foot in his mouth with this sort of, oh, well, we need to just stop thinking about that. And it's a Democrat hoax. And you say, how is it even possible that he's fumbling this hard? So much so that people are saying maybe it's calculated because it is not possible to mess it up this bad. He's failing. He's cracking up.
Oh,
At the same
I love
time,
the Q-tards saying, oh, he's going to make Democrats release the file. He's in control of it, dumbasses.
Exactly. He appointed the attorney general. It's under his purview. He could release it if he wants to. Pam Bondi could do it. Trump could tell her to do it. And so he's in this position. He's clearly not well. And you could speculate about his health or something like that. But just suffice to say, he's not handling this well. But he also is immovable. And what's more is, and we talked about this the last time, there's this exuberance. And that really scared me when he came into office. And by scared, I don't want to sound like a resistance liberal or something, you know, but a year ago, I was concerned about this Trojan horse thing. He's going to take all the Republicans with him. Anything he'll do will have his imprimatur of credibility. 90% of Republicans will support it no matter what. But then he gets into office. Then he wins the election. And you see a Trump that is unchained, where he's like, we're going to take Canada. We're going to take Greenland. We're going to take Panama. We're going to go to war with Russia. We're going to go to war with China. And you're like, this is a guy that is not handling it well. He's incontestable and he's totally exuberant, has this like God complex situation. And so we're kind of strapped in for the next 3 years. And you know, I would say 8 years ago, what I would have said, what is our course of action? I would have said, we have to fight for the personnel. We got to get a new chief of staff. We got to get Susie Wiles out.
Dude, he's so fucking right, because this was my thinking too. The first term, it's like, oh, because he put too many neocons in his administration. He's getting bad advice. He's getting bad advice. We need to get like Bannon back in there. We need to get real American first people in there and get rid of these fucking neocons. It's actually Trump. It's actually Trump that's the problem. And then we're realizing that now. So again, another well-made point by Nick that I have to agree with. Now, I understand why everybody thinks Nick's smart. I get it. He's a smart guy.
We got to get control of the White House, wrest control of it from the bad personnel, get the good advisors in. You know, but we did that already. And even now, I don't think it's possible. I think that this is just how it's been the entire time. And, you know, Trump, if he knows how to get in touch with you, he knows how to get in touch with all these people that are critical, he won't do it. You know, and by the way, the people that are at the FBI, it's Kash Patel, it's Dan Bongino, it's Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., Elon Musk was on the team. So you would say, who would he call to get him out of the mess? Who would be the dream team personnel that could steer the ship away from the rocks? Well, they're already kind of there. I mean, what could we have better? You know, if we're thinking about MAGA personnel that you could plug in that could solve the problem that represents the base, could you do much better than Kash Patel and Dan Bongino? Could you do much better than Vivek?
That sounds stupid now, but if you go back a year ago, these were the guys that had the MAGA message down put. They had the America First walk and talk, and then they get in and completely flip. That's why, I mean, there is an argument to be made there that Pam Bondi's actually the one that's been thrown under the bus, because it was almost like Pam Bondi thought she was actually going to be able to release the Epstein files. And then
Skank Hunt 213 became a member.
Welcome, Skank Hunt. Love your name, by the way. And then all of a sudden, the rug got pulled out from under her. And the next day, she's like, I can't release the files. And then Dan Bongino shows up looking like he just fucking got beat up in the background. He's, dude, this is all Trump. This is all Trump. I still think Bongino, Kash Patel, and Bondi should probably be fired, but there is a reality or a possibility there where they actually thought they were going to be able to deliver transparency to the American people, and then Trump undermined them. That's what it's looking like to me, man.
And not to say that these are the best people ever, but these are pretty MAGA people. These are pretty outside the system people to bring in. And so you wonder if they can't.
Nick, and I'm going to, I just have to say this. I got a bunch of calls the last 3 weeks. And the calls go like this: what do you want? And I've never asked for.
So the Trump campaign's trying to bribe Alex to shut the fuck up? Is that what he's saying here? I mean, this is pretty big news to me, if this is the case. And it tells you how bad things are. That they can't just, what do you want? Release the files. That's what everybody wants. All this goes away if you give us transparency like you promised. But now they're like, what do you want, Alex? You want a job in the administration? Huh? You want a little night alone with fucking Trump's daughter, Ivanka? You want a little time? You want a little Ivanka time? Crazy, dude. It's crazy.
What I want is good policy. I always want to be the outsider. And I'm just like, what do I want? I want Make America Great Again. I want America First.
This is crazy that Alex is actually saying this. And to me, this is kind of I don't know why this isn't big news. Why isn't this big news? Fucking Trump administration tries to bribe Alex Jones to shut up about the Epstein files. How is that not bigger news, dude?
So there's a real understanding in this administration that we're in charge. This is the way it is. And the fact that I get these calls, like the top of the administration, and they're just cut and dry. What do you want?
Oh yeah, Ivanka is hot. That's why I said Ivanka, because I mean, if you're gonna bribe me with Ivanka, I might fall for that one, you know?
And I'm just like, And again, the horror of
that is crazy,
Hakeem Jeffries and Pocahontas is right there. And that's why I'm in this paradox where I'm like, whoa. And so, I mean, I feel disaster. I'm going to be honest with viewers. I have nothing I can do but to tell the truth. I am just in a nightmare. because the Democrats are pure satanic scum. We know who they are. And you've got all this delusions of grandeur. People that know Trump well say it's beyond megalomania. He does not care. He does whatever he wants, which is good to not care about Democrats. He doesn't even respond to their attacks anymore because he literally doesn't care and thinks he's invincible. And now he's negotiating.
Alex, Alex, you should have scheduled this fucking earlier in the day, Alex. I'm starting to think he might have had a couple drinks. It's okay. Alex, I understand you're under a lot of stress. You're under a lot of stress, dude. And I believe him when he says, like, this is a nightmare. Like, a lot of people stuck their necks out, you know, for Trump. And they're just going to get completely chopped off. It's frustrating. I feel his pain.
Russia and China, North Korea, and Iran. And just a week ago, had a meeting with Zelensky and said, maybe we'll give you heavy bombs to bomb Moscow. And now they may overthrow Zelensky. So you get this idea that it's like this swirling crazy town. And you have last week the CIA director at that meeting they had, that cabinet meeting, and Ratcliffe literally leans back and goes, starts kind of like demoning out in the meeting, going like, and I'm just like, literally looking at places to run to in the Southern Hemisphere for nuclear war. And I'm not the kind of guy that runs. My instincts are run, run, run. And the Democrats want to defeat Trump, and the Democrats want to rape our kids, and I know they're bad. And then you got all this crazy Trump delusion, and I smell death. And so Europe and Chicago, I'm in Austin, big cities.
Alex, you're scaring me, bro. Come on, Alex, make me feel better, dude. I kind of understand where he's coming from. A lot of people feel like this. Ever since 2020, it's like we're on this weird fucking train that like all of a sudden switched tracks, and now we're going down crazy land, dude. And everything's like possible at this point. Armageddon, nuclear war, the complete destruction of our entire economy, and like it's like I understand the fear that he's under. I think we all kind of feel it in a way.
This is real world stuff. So at this point, I just want listeners and viewers to know. Let me ask you this, Nick. Comment to just the Armageddon flavor of this, but then larger issue, is there any way to extricate Trump? Is there any path, in your view, out of this? Or what do we do? Because obviously the behavior of the last 3 weeks on Epstein is not trillion D chess. It is flailing anger, or it's covering something up. I mean, this is just, you can't lie about what this is, which I've been saying, I don't know what it is.
I think it's over. I think it's over for him. And look, he's going to be the president for the next few years, and he will deliver some tangible benefits. It's not all bad from a policy point of view. He has closed the border, and maybe there can be some effort that's being made on debanking and free speech. I would say that is one of the great net positives, even though he didn't even really deliver that. I would argue that was more Elon Musk. Actually, with Trump, it's the reverse. They're going to bring back.
I heard Elon is just donated a fuck ton of money to Republicans for the midterms. So I don't know what's happening with this third party, the American Party, but it looks like Elon's back to just giving his money to Republicans. So
TikTok, but now there's going to be censorship. And I don't know if you saw, but they just negotiated this deal where they're going to have a new footnotes feature on TikTok, where it's like a fact check. It's like the fake news thing that Facebook did. So, you know, there may be some more leeway in terms of free speech. I've heard there might be some better regulations for debanking. That might go away. This reputational harm might be eliminated as a consideration from the Federal Reserve for banks. There will be good trade deals. I think some of the trade deals, like with the European Union, like with these Asian countries, there will be some tangible benefits. With that being said, Trump is still a lame duck. He is a lame duck president, and many of the aspects of this presidency, they're just not living up to what needs to happen. And there's no future for him politically. I don't even think if he was eligible to run, we would want to vote for him yet another time in 2028. So like I said last year, I think what the MAGA base has to do is sort of recognize we still need to use what we can get out of this.
Thank you, Zato. I had to go get some fucking creamer from, well, not creamer, heavy cream for my coffee. Oh, there we go. Zato with the $5. Thank you, brother. 2020 hit with the vid. So many people bought the lie. Yuri Bezmenov strikes again. Yeah, 2020, it's, I was saying last night or the last stream that it was when the first Trump assassination, but no, it really goes back to 2020. 2020 was like, I don't know. It was like we ended up on a different fucking timeline, a different timeline in the multiverse. And it's not a good one. Thank you for the $5, brother.
Maybe.
Hey, wait, guys, if you want to support the channel, send super chats or hit the thumbs up. I think we're four away from 100. So, if you're enjoying the show, smash the thumbs up. Helps it get out to more people, which we're over 400 viewers. That's pretty good. That's a new high, I think. So thank you guys for enjoying the show and being here with us. But smash the thumbs up if you can. It's much appreciated.
Maybe we could have people work in the White House. There's many groypers that are in this administration that are building their resumes. That's a good thing. People should still be doing that. And there are people like you and I that are benefiting from the free speech renaissance on Rumble, on X. We will benefit from that and from the debanking regulations. But separately, at the same time, we have to start to imagine, to your point, that question, what do you want? What do we want after Trump? Because when he leaves office and most likely pardons himself, you and I will still be here picking up the pieces. And even to the extent that we criticize Trump or have...
I want a true America First movement. I want a true movement to restore the federal government to something that would make the founding fathers happy, which means the federal government would probably be downsized to maybe 10% or less of what it does right now. And I want to see a candidate who's serious about that. That's not just gonna like hint at it and like tease everybody about it the way Trump did, but like seriously be like, look, we're gonna figure out how to do it. And if we gotta fucking piss off a lot of people to do it, and I mean, I know it's not gonna be easy for a president to do that, but I think if a president really wanted to, there are ways for it to be done. I'd love to see that. That's what we need, man. We need the reality. We need people to understand the reality of like, the only way to solve this problem is to get rid of most of the federal government, because that is the problem.
Criticize Trump. It will make no difference when the left persecutes us. So even though I didn't vote for him, even though you've been fair and objective and critical, it will make no difference when the Democrats come in and clap back on all of us on the entire right wing. And we will not get a presidential pardon. So we'll be sweeping up after him one way or the other. We have to start to think, what is our lives? What is our political movement? What is MAGA, the populist America First movement? What will it be when Trump sunsets? And I think he's already in a meaningful way sunsetted. There's just nothing new there. It's not dynamic. It's not progressive. It's not forward thinking. It's just sort of static and waiting to be resolved, waiting for him to exit stage left. We have to start to think in 2028, what is the next phase? What is the next booster rocket after Trump decouples? What will that be?
So let's speak to that. What is the next phase? Because Trump did not defend free speech when I got taken off and you got taken off.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying.
Elon, because I only give credit where it's due, he is the champion of that. They ran him off because Susie Wallace didn't like him. But
you also got to give credit for Elon being one of the first ones to blow the whistle on the whole Trump being in the Epstein files thing. Which, again, to me, everybody should have known Trump was going to be in the Epstein files. The question is, what is he doing in the Epstein files? What is in the Epstein? Because, of course, he's going to be in it. He spent so much fucking time with old Jeffrey. He hung out with them and partied with them so much and did so many business deals with them. But remember Elon was very early to say the reason we're not getting the Epstein files is because Trump's in them. He was very right. We're
all living under that umbrella. Trump wouldn't have gotten in without Elon, in my view. What is your view on that? And so what is the Elon wild card there?
What is interesting about Elon is introducing this America Party. I'm actually interested to see where that goes. And what the outcome of that is will tell us a lot about the dynamics in 2028, because clearly both parties are breaking up. I actually think maybe Trump is having this spectacular crash out, or some would argue it's maybe dying with a whimper. I think that it's a good thing because you see that both the right...
I remember that, Chase. Elon had to be bullied into getting Alex unbanned. True. It was one of my big complaints. When I interviewed Alex, I asked him, I was like, if Elon really believes in free speech, why is he not unbanning you? And then Alex was being nice about it and all that. And it finally, after like people wouldn't shut up about it, he did one of those polls, and the polls were like clearly unban Alex was the winning vote. And then he did. So at some point you do have to give him credit because he's still the only platform that's unbanned Alex. And it's been fucking 7 years now. He's still banned off YouTube. He's still, I mean, he needs to be, they need to let him back on YouTube. They need to let him back on Facebook, all the fucking platforms. I don't know. I don't think they ever will, but they should.
And the left, 10 years after Trumpism, are disintegrating. The left does not know where to go. And there is this big battle going on right now in the left between the radical progressives and the liberal establishmentarians.
Yeah, let's be clear. The left has the lowest approval rating in their history. No fundraising. They're flatlined. And then Trump commits political.
Yeah, but that's always the case, dude. I mean, the Republicans were flatlined before Trump came around. You can't just assume that the Democrats aren't going to, have a resurgence as soon as election cycle comes around. They will resurge. People will rally around the Democrats again.
Suicide, saying, don't look at Epstein. I mean, it's insane.
But I don't think that's a bad thing because the left has been disintegrated by Trump. Trump has utterly defeated them. It's sort of like the Soviet Union, like Trump matching them and just being tough and outlasting them. They have sort of killed themselves with wokeism, with the purity spiral, with the inherent contradictions. They are disintegrated. They are just not an effective operation right now. You see this with like Cory Booker giving this ridiculous speech. Like that's their guy. Bernie Sanders seems to be the only one with the doctrine. He's 90 years old. Zohran Mamdani wants to do socialism. It's not working. But now the right is also disintegrating due to the contradictions of Trumpism. So it's like Trump has killed the left. He's also now killing the right, such that on the left, you have this progressive liberal split. On the right, you have a split now with the Silicon Valley people hopping off, the anti-war people hopping off, the Q conspiracy people hopping off. Like the whole thing's coming apart. And now that Elon is talking about a third party, an America party that's based on center-right, common sense policy, it's going to be free speech, H-1Bs, this sort of thing. It's creating an opening. The first act, according to the Kabbalists, in creation, they say, is to create an opening. I'm not a Kabbalist, by the way, but this is what they say. They say the first act is to create an opening, a container. And I was such a believer that Trump needed to lose for that to happen. Maybe he needed to win for that to happen. But now that Trump is sort of crashing and burning, new options are coming forward. Powerful people like Elon and Tucker are articulating alternative pathways forward. There is now, just like for the first time, a wide open playing field. In 2016, it was like Clinton and Bush. Those were your options. Trump scattered the ashes of the Bush dynasty, defeated the Clintons.
I can't find it, but I know I saw earlier, and I don't know how trustworthy it is, but yeah, that Elon is already donating a ton of money to Republicans for the midterms. So if that's true, which I haven't been able to vet that to know if that's 100% true, the American Party's already done. If you were going to start an American Party, why would you be donating to Republicans?
Defeated the Obamas, defeated the Bidens. Now it's just like a wide open playing field after all this. And this is where we can really begin to create.
No,
and
I agree.
You wonder,
so definitely the spell of Israel lobby being able to do whatever they want and say us to shut up, that's over. And all the other spells are broken right now. And so is there anyone?
I don't think they are, to be honest. I think this might be a little bit of cope. It would be nice if the left and the right, the Democrats and Republicans, were so dismantled at this point that it gave us an opening to do something. But they're the same fucking dumbasses are gonna rally around the Democrats, and the same dumbasses are gonna rally around the Republicans when it comes time. I don't think they're as damaged as Nick and Alex believe here at this moment.
Way for Trump to resurrect himself and pull out of this?
I don't think so. But I think that even if he did, look, people will eventually move on. You know how it goes. You've been doing this for longer than I have, as long as I've been alive. And you know how it goes, especially now more than ever. A story is in the news for a week, and then people forget.
Not the Epstein files. This shit been in the news for like a month, and people still talking about it every day.
Now, this is going to leave a mark. This is going to have lasting damage. But just like everything else, in a few months, people will forget. And that's optimistic.
But
I mean,
it
maybe
shows
they'll
the
just
fundamental miscalculations. I don't want to be mean to Trump, but his advisors, people very close to him, have told me in the last year, they go, it's beyond megalomania. He literally thinks he's invincible, and he's delusional now. And I'm being honest with viewers right now.
I mean, not looking good, boys.
And they're very concerned. And now you see it. The
It's not
fact that
looking
he
good.
thought they could put a memo out, which he wrote, which he had written, which I told people day one. They said, "Oh, you're a traitor." No, it's Pam Bondi. No, it was him. He admitted later. To say he killed himself, he acted alone. There was no human trafficking. There are no files. It is suicidal politically, but it came out of his grandiose, extreme arrogance. And I get under pressure. This is what he turned into, because how could you deal with this pressure and not stop? So, Nick, it's very paradoxical. And then every time I sit there and look at this horror, I then look at Hakeem Jeffries and Pocahontas and AOC and Ilhan Omar, and I just go, okay, I'm happy to cut Trump loose. My listeners want me to, and it feels good. But then I go, what is the second order response when I
Find the next guy. You're looking at Hakeem Jeffries and fucking Gavin Newsom. Okay, we need to find somebody that's capable of running against them. Use the Republican Party as a skin suit again. Who gives a fuck? Run as a Republican if you have to, because you're probably not going to win as an independent. But we need that next guy. Alex, you could be that next fucking guy, Alex. Do you think Alex could win if Alex was to run for president? I think he could. Because I think celebrity is a big thing now. Like, you're way ahead of the game. If you're coming in as a celebrity with a huge following of people that support you, that puts you way ahead of everybody else. So I know a lot of you guys don't like Alex, but this is what we need. We need to find the next fucking guy and say, goodbye, Trump. You fucking, we played a game of imposter and it turned out you were the imposter. And now we try somebody else and let's hope he's not a fucking imposter.
look at World War Z zombie army.
I know a lot of you are like, we got to have revolution. Dude, you're playing right into their hands. Anytime you start thinking about any sort of violent response or anything, you're playing right into their fucking hands. You have to use the system. And I don't know. I know it's a black pill thing. It's easy to be black pilled about it. But for me, we just keep trying. Just find somebody else and do a better job of picking them next time. And, it's not like people picked Trump. He just fucking showed up and he was the best option. But if we get started early, figuring out who the next guy's going to be, I mean, why not? Give it a shot.
And
Yeah.
Larry DM super chatted
He's
$5. How screwed is JD Vance, tying his career to this if it continues this way?
Yeah, I mean, he'll flip on Trump when he needs to. I don't trust JD Vance, so, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how fucked he is. I don't know. Because, I mean, the Republicans seem to be hardcore. It depends if the Democrats can get enough support in 4 years. And who knows if JD Vance will even be the guy. Because they're going to need to do primaries. And I don't know. He is kind of fucked, though, because Trump's wrecking everything. But we'll see, man. We'll see. It's a long time from now. A lot of things can change,
that's where I hit a brick wall. I'm just like, oh my God.
I don't trust Vance.
Yeah, I think that I don't think that's the worst case scenario, to tell you the truth. I know that people don't want to see Trump go down because they worry about the left and things like that. But I think the worst case scenario is that Trump, at the end of the day, was never a radical.
You think Trump putting us to sleep is the problem?
Exactly. I think complacency, I think Trump rolling us back into the system. I mean, one thing that people never mention is with Trump winning in 24, nobody's talking about the rigged elections anymore. You notice that? Like, Trump won in 24, and now people say, and there's polling on this, they say, we believe the elections are free and fair and it's all legit. Now, with these new advertisements, the American Eagle, the Dunkin' Donuts, people say, oh, the advertisements are great again. People are being rolled right back into the system, supporting more Middle East wars, supporting more skilled and low-skilled immigration.
They push, and when it fails, they flip right back to put us to sleep. Oh,
Exactly.
We're in 1985. Everything's fine.
They play both sides. When the left is losing cachet, they flip to the right, and people say, we won, the revolution succeeded. So I think, I mean, you said it succinctly, Trump lulling us to sleep, the complacency, to me, that was always the real threat. With Trump disintegrating, it's actually presenting a real opportunity, especially in the way that he's disintegrating.
So wait, are you an accelerationist or what are you saying?
I don't know that I'm an accelerationist. I'm not rooting for the country to break apart, but I do believe that Trump occupying this seat is holding back something more right wing. I think that Trump is, I'm maybe a political accelerationist.
Well, yeah, it sucks that we thought we were getting one guy, and what we got was an imposter. It is like a game of imposter, right? It's like, okay, who's real and who's lying to us just so they get in and can fucking, enrich themselves. That's a hard game because I think like 99% of them are imposters. Is there a 1% that's not an imposter that we can go with? I don't know, man.
And what I mean by that is I don't want the worst case scenario to happen for America to collapse so that then I'm not an accelerationist in that way. But in terms of the GOP,
you want to wake people up, though. You want to have the wake up call.
Yeah, I think the controlled opposition needs to be defeated. We need to accelerate the political controlled opposition.
So let's look at it this way. Why do they want you off the air? Let's just say it. The ADL runs it. That's to see it. What are they scared about? We're not trying to bring ourselves into this, folks. We're not Hunter S. Thompson, but it's true. Why do they want you off the air? Why do they want me off the air? What are we doing that the power structure fears?
Well, what they don't like about you is that you are an independent media outlet. You have too big of a studio, too big of an operation, too big of an audience. They want to control that. I think with me, I never had an operation as big as yours. We get into it at different times and different circumstances and things like that. I think what they fear about me, and I've seen it even on TikTok the other day, there was like this liberal kid and he goes, the left is not talking about the rise of Nick Fuentes and that's a problem. The left is starting to like Nick Fuentes because he criticizes Trump. And I hate saying my own name. I think it sounds like narcissistic, but what they fear about me is that what I am proposing is a novel and truly reactionary alternative to what we get even from the GOP. In 16, they used to say, and maybe you remember this, but in 15 and 16, they would say they hated Ted Cruz more than Trump because they said Ted Cruz was a true believer. He's a true radical, Now, I don't think that's true, but there is this premise that they never feared Trump as much because they recognized that Trump was a deal maker, would make concessions. They recognized that Trump was not an idea.
But that's such bullshit. They try to paint it like Ted Cruz was the real radical. Ted fucking Cruz. I mean, that had to have been neocon saying that shit to try to get the Trump supporters to like support Ted Cruz. Yeah, Ted Cruz is a real radical, guys.
Ideologue. He really was a demagogue the whole time by definition. Whereas me, my movement being very young, being very fanatical, and being very radical, we do represent a threat in the sense that when all of these fake ideologies disintegrate, what is going to be the strongest ship? What is going to be the Noah's Ark?
Well, that's it. No, that's why the NSA and documents and leaks, they fear anybody they don't control that can get a group together. So they feel leaders, period. So let me ask you this. What is your prediction? I know it's all dead reckoning for Trump. What is the best scenario? What would you do to try to, because he's here for 3.5 years, what is the best?
Yeah, Thomas Massey seems all right. Boy and his dog says he likes Thomas Massey. I mean, he's a potential. He'd throw his hat in the ring, dude. But he could be an imposter too, man. A lot of these people are really good at lying. It's like what they do for a living, almost.
Best path out of this. What do you think the Democrats are going to try? Trump's trying to stop these wars. That's a good thing overall. He's doing a lot of great stuff on trade.
Doesn't seem like he is anymore.
I don't want, the cliche, baby out with the bathwater, but it's great to go, okay, Trump's got problems. And that's a whole other subject. I want to ask you, why is he covering up the Epstein thing? Because I've never seen any real evidence there. I've been all over this. So that's a whole other discussion. It's just he must have made a deal with Israel.
Yeah, I think there's maybe two very likely possibilities. And of course, there's many others, but to me, these are the standouts. One is that he wanted to avoid embarrassment. I think that he knew his name was in there, and his name was in the files in 2019. We just know this. There's videos and photos, and he was friends with Epstein for many years. And so he knew if there was a big disclosure, he'd be named all over it.
Nick Fuentes didn't kill himself.
I'm just going to say it right now. I'm a very happy person. I'm also, I was raised Catholic, and I don't want to go to hell. So I would never harm myself in any way. And I think everybody should just go ahead and make a social media post. Because it seems the way to get rid of people, and not even just the government. I mean, look at fucking Kurt Cobain, in my opinion. If somebody wants to get rid of you, they're going to try to make it look like a... So just make that post right now and let the world know that you are not... Okay? And that you love life, which I love life. And I believe is a sin, a very grave sin. And I would never commit that sin.
Maybe we'd learn something.
Nick is also a Catholic, right? And he would never commit that sin. So
maybe we'd learn nothing, but it would be a big shitstorm.
But it doesn't matter. You know, he'll end up shooting himself in the head 29 times and they'll rule it as suicide anyway.
For him politically.
Right?
And so
Right?
I think that
that's how it works.
One
right?
possibility is it was just a big misstep. He did it to avoid embarrassment. I think that's possible. The other distinct possibility, which I think is very likely, is like you said, there was a deal with Israel, that his allies would be hurt by this. Maybe people like Peter Thiel, people like Netanyahu. Maybe there's unknown people yet undisclosed in the files. It would be destabilizing for the political order. And for the same reason he didn't lock up Hillary Clinton, he's going to do this. It's sort of a handshake with the shadow government, with the deep state, with this international cabal, whether it's Israel or the CIA, really a difference without a distinction. There was a handshake to just avoid pandemonium, to avoid a kind of Me Too level extinction event for a certain class of the elites. It's the same reason it's telling. Nancy Pelosi came out and said, we should not release the files.
God, the 90s was so cringe, wasn't it? I mean, I love the 90s, but when you look back at videos of the 90s, it's so fucking cringe. And this video here of Trump dancing next to Epstein is the creepiest, most cringiest video I've ever seen.
Now, why would Nancy Pelosi and Trump agree on something like this? It's probably because it's for the sake of political order, or because they both have something to hide and they don't want to have the scandal. So I think that those are the distinct possibilities. Maybe it's a combination of the two.
No, I agree with you. So
think
now they're going to have hearings. Even Johnson's going to use it against Trump because he's a weasel. I'm not saying it's wrong to do it, but he's doing it for weasel purposes. What is your prediction on this? Because my prediction, as I said 24 days ago, is this has doom written all over it. They're going to go all the way to the wall with this. And if Trump doesn't release all the Epstein files and go after the deep state for Crossfire Hurricane, I want your take on that too, and all this talk about treason charges and things, then he's doomed. Because when whoever convinced him or himself to sign on to the Epstein cover-up, he has now become everything he claimed he was.
Yeah, but you even said it yourself. It doesn't look like anybody convinced him. It looked like he's doing this all on his fucking own. That's why he looks so guilty. Because it seems like this is all coming from him. It seems like there's probably a lot of like actual America First people in the movement who are realizing that Trump's not the real deal, and they all need to be resigning. Like Kash Patel, if you're the real deal, Dan Bongino, if you're the real deal, you need to fucking resign and go, Trump's not who I thought he was, and let the fucking aftermath come. But at least you'll gain some respect back with people, because they'll be like, oh, so it is Trump. Trump's not, okay, so Trump fucking undermined you guys and he's undermining America First. Okay, right? And then you can save some face. That's what people need to do. If you're true America First in this administration and you're realizing Trump is the fucking problem and he's not really America First, he's the swamp first, then fucking resign and come out and say it.
Against. I mean, he did that. And my listeners get mad that I'm not like covering it up. I can't do that. And some then take it out of context when I work it. I'm like, oh, you're covering it up. No, I'm covering every angle. I mean, this is the disaster. And so Nick, there's a lot of questions there. Why do you think he covered it up? What do you think is going to come out? How the Democrats think they can only limitedly expose him when they're heavily involved. Where do you see that going?
I agree. I think they're going to keep pushing it, because this is the first scandal that's really hurt Trump. All the other stuff, nobody really believed. The Russiagate, the Stormy Daniels, for the most part, that never left a mark, because there was this assumption among the base that, look, the left is going to lie about Trump. They're going to try everything. They're throwing everything other than the kitchen sink and the rest of it. But this is something that it's just unavoidable. I mean, the Trump base, these people like Kash Patel, they played up the Epstein files for years. It's so brazen. So this is going to leave a mark. And now that the left has found something that is so effective, super effective, they're just going to hit this all day long. Now, fortunately for Trump, there's this summer recess for the Congress, so they can punt this. I don't know that that was even the best idea, because when the Congress reconvenes, guess what they're going to do? They're once again going to force the issue. So we're going to pick up in September in the next legislative session on this. And it's going to happen simultaneous with the General Assembly of the United Nations, where they're going to recognize Palestine. It's going to happen simultaneous with the deadline for.
Mako Super
You said it, MMA.
$1.99. If you don't hit like, you're on the Epstein list.
Guys, who hasn't hit the like in here? I need to know their names because we got to figure this out. And let's get to 200. Maybe we'll get to 200. Thank you, MMAKL. Love you, brother.
Another Iran nuclear deal. And this is going to happen as Congress comes back, and they're going to force a vote on Thomas Massie and the Democrats' resolution to get all the files unsealed from the DOJ on Epstein. And this is where, I started to say this earlier. The conventional wisdom would say he's going to pull out of this. They're going to stop paying attention to it. They'll find something else.
I don't smell that. I smell really bad.
That almost makes me want to make an edit where Alex just talks about how bad he smells. No way. It's just Nick sitting there asking him questions, and Alex is like, all I know is I smell really bad. If only there was more lines about how bad Alex smelled, I can make that work. I don't know. I just found that funny.
Paying attention to it, they'll find something else.
I don't smell that. I smell really bad.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to say. I think it just gets worse and worse. I think, as you said, it's doom. It's a dreadful feeling that it's just going to be one shoe to drop after the next. It's like 50 shoes are going to drop after this. And we're going to hurtle into the midterms, and it's going to be an issue. Then we're going to open up the Republican presidential primary, and it's going to be I think
once the midterms hit, Trump's going to be a 100% lame duck at that point. I could be wrong, but I think the Republicans are going to fucking get hit hard. It's normal, right? First term president in the midterms, usually things flip back. And with this Epstein shit and how many Trump supporters are like, I'm done. Fuck these people. The midterms could be really ugly. Really, really ugly.
Issue. And they're going to be hitting this from here until the next election.
America First populists salvage something. Whether we abandon Trump or not, folks, this looks bad. What do we do to continue our America First policy and extricate ourselves from this?
I think we need to use this as an opportunity. I really believe this is an historic opportunity in the way that maybe even Trump wasn't, to go further than Trump, because Trump was able to go so far because people were so angry with what they were getting from both sides. That's why people tolerated Trump. That's why people were willing to go with Trump. Now that Trump has even disappointed them, and he was supposed to be the revolution, I feel like this is like momentum. Some people look at this as dreadful. I look at this as kind of like momentum. This is an explosion of energy.
The problem is a lot of these people are going to drop out. If all these people stay politically active, and like it seems like Fuentes, Nick is kind of saying what I'm saying. Like, we need to take all this anger over the Trump administration and move it to whoever the next America First guy is going to be. And I think a lot of people are going to drop out of this shit. They're going to just be completely blackpilled. They're going to go back to playing video games and beating off in their basement bedroom. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way, if that's what you want to do. And they're not going to care about voting anymore because they're going to go, what's the fucking point? So I can get fooled again by another idiot? This is why this Trump being a fucking shill, being a fucking imposter, is going to be really bad in the long run. Because the Democrats are going to get emboldened. They're going to get motivated. They're getting motivated big time right now. You can see it. They're remotivating themselves. There was a period after Trump got elected. It's like they almost disappeared. You couldn't find them anymore. And now they're all back fucking going crazy about the American Eagle genes and the Trump Epstein stuff. So yeah. I think we're going to be fucked. That's my opinion. I hope I'm wrong.
That can propel maybe something even more anti-establishment into the fore. And people like liberals were pointing out, Trump is losing with the younger demographic. Trump's approval among the 18 to 25 is crashing out more than any other demo. The old people don't care, but the young people are furious about this. And the left said,
I think the old people are used to getting fucked. They're used to like politicians promising everything and delivering nothing. So they're just like, oh, okay, he's still better than Kamala. Whereas the young people are like, what the fuck is this? The fuck? So you just lied and pretended and now you're just the same as them? So yeah, I hope the young people get angry and don't forget about this. A lot of the old people are fucking, they're, desensitized to this shit. And that's not good.
Oh,
He's
this is
the
great.
rebel, and this is the main issue. And he thought he had the political cachet to say, shut up. And a person with a 70 IQ would have known.
I'd vote for it. Somebody says you talk like anything but a Democrat. I'd vote for a Democrat. I don't care about the party. The problem with the Democrat Party is you don't have an open primary. You have the superdelegates. So you can't get an outsider into the Democrat Party. The Republican Party is still an open primary. You can get an outsider. Hell, you could get a fucking commie to run as a Republican and win, as long as they have the votes in the primary. That's the problem with the Democrat Party, is why you'll never get an outsider in the Democrat Party anymore until they get rid of it and they return to an open primary, which they'll never do because they like to be able to pick and choose who's going to be the fucking Democrat candidate, you know?
No, that was a disaster.
They don't want the people picking who the Democrat candidates are going to be. They want the Nancy Pelosi's of the world picking them. And convenient, right?
Move, which goes to the mental acuity of him and his advisors.
But in particular with the young people, and I agree, because he thought he could do it, but he didn't. The young people are leaving, and the left is telling us, oh, great, Trump is losing the youth. This is a great day for the left. But Trump is losing the youth, not because the youth are going to the left. He's losing the youth because they're more right-wing than Trump. Trump has created a generation of Nick Fuenteses and Groypers.
And that's my next question.
More...
I saw you talk about this, and I like Charlie Kirk. I'm not his enemy, and I think he's been brought along. But they're literally having struggle sessions now when you've been banned from their events. I've been there when you get taken out by police. The fact that they tried to ban you from the building only made you bigger. Do a little short thing on that.
Sure. Well, last week they did this Turning Point struggle session on Israel. And what I said on my show is that for many years, back in 2019, I came at Turning Point USA as a critic from the right. Turning Point was considered the rightmost youth organization in the country, and they were the gladiators against the left. They were the most pro-Trump, the most right-wing. Then here comes the Groypers that are saying you're not right-wing enough on the social issues, on immigration, on identity, and in particular on Israel. And their first response back in 19 was to ban us. They banned me from their events. They kicked the Groypers out. They fired the Groypers that were sympathetic in their organization, and they tried to ignore us. They tried to purge us. They tried to pretend we didn't exist. Fast forward 6 years later, and their whole organization is filled with Groypers. Their events are filled with Groypers. The youth is about as right-wing as me. Maybe they're even more right-wing than me, even.
And to
so
Charlie Kirk, they had literally an event with their people about this now.
That's right. And last week they had...
So does this all stem from Tucker's speech? Because Tucker gave a very non-turning point-like speech, calling out Israel, calling out Trump, and the crowd fucking loved it. So is Turning Point like having a identity crisis right now? Tucker could be another one. Throw his hat in the ring. Nick Fuentes, throw his hat in the ring. Alex Jones, throw his hat in the ring. We need a fucking hero. Who's going to step up? Trump's done. He's over. He's old news. He's history. Who's next?
Had to hold this struggle session where they are very aware of this problem, that at their events, they have people crying out for something that is truly America first, that is authentic, that's going to call out Israel.
Man, they're doing fucking Charlie Kirk dirty on these little fucking B-rolls, dude. Oh, man.
And so they host this session where they're basically trying to mediate, and they're sort of putting themselves in this position like they have power over the conversation. The youth are already super far right. They come in and say, we're going to mediate this transition.
Michael Malice is another one, right? Because I think Michael Malice is like one that would dismantle the federal government, right? He's like an anarchist on the federal level. And that's the key here, because people think, oh, you don't want any government. No. Local government's fine. It's the federal government that needs to fucking go, most of it, not all of it.
To the far right, as if they control that at all, as if they have any say. And so they bring in all their chapter leaders, they bring in some of the members of their organization, and they have this, what is supposed to be a focus group where they have an honest conversation about Israel. And one by one, Charlie Kirk says, when you say Israel, what's the first thing that comes to mind? And one by one, the chapter leaders of Turning Point USA, the biggest right-wing campus group, they say the first word that comes to mind, Mossad, genocide, APAC, foreign lobbying.
Why can't we just take control of this shit and just be like, as a movement of people like America First, let's start hosting our own debates. Let's go, hey, let's start like right now in a month. Let's fucking get everybody that has hopes of being the next presidential candidate, and let's start having our own fucking debates on social media that are not, run by the fucking mainstream media, that are just open fucking pure debates. And let's figure out who the next people are going to be. Let's get ahead of this shit. I think we got to stop fucking being lazy about it and waiting to the last minute. And then we're just stuck with like shitty candidates to choose from.
Foreign wars.
The problem is not many people actually want to run. And I understand that. I don't want to run either. Who would want to go through that bullshit, dude?
Things that were unthinkable 6 years ago, things that, almost nobody was talking about 6, 7 years ago, 6, 7. And Charlie Kirk is there basically trying to mediate this and say, well,
JL Dub says Mexican Nick isn't the answer. JL Dub's one of the things that me and Nick have in common is we both have, well, my last name's Gonzalez. His last name's Fuentes. I don't know what his actual background is, but mine is, Gonzalez is from a Spanish background. I'm sure there's some Mexican mixed in there too. But yeah, so that doesn't bother me. Yeah, because I'm also one of those white guys with a Hispanic last name. Sorry if that disappoints you guys.
You don't hate Israel. You just have some moderate criticisms. Well, we still support Israel. We still love Israel. And we don't have any problems with Judaism, but you just have some narrow criticisms about Netanyahu.
Gallup poll even shows Israel's the most unpopular thing. Look, I'm glad Charlie Kirk's waking up people at colleges. I don't want to be in with him. The crew's playing funny videos of him. The point is... Yeah, the crew clearly doesn't like Charlie Kirk. Is that you got exercise, you got sent into oblivion, you got sent to the phantom zone, you got put into exile, and there's no doubt, Nick, that your ideas and what you're saying are dominant within their own organization, and this is just emblematic of everything right now. And so where do you see this ending?
Well, I don't know the future because it's like you talked about earlier. You just don't know. You don't know what's going on with Trump. You don't know what's going to happen next when Congress comes back. But if we play our cards right, the way that it should end is that we view Trump as a stepping stool. I don't believe that he was never the ends in itself. The end was America first. And we thought Trump was the leader to get us there. Now, I don't think that Trump was all bad. I'm not a Trump hater. I think that he did a lot of good for the country, but he was never, in my opinion, he was always a first step. He was always going to hand the baton to somebody else. He was planting a seed. He was destroying institutions. He was kind of like a necessary first part of a long story. And so if we play our cards right and are smart, what happens next is we decouple from Trump. And like he did, we imagine, what is the next step of this? What do we want? And we take the baton from Trump and from this administration, and we take it forward in 2028. We take it forward in 2032. And we look for a young avatar of this new movement that can run for office. Maybe
so who do you think
as a congressman.
Is there anybody out there?
I don't know anybody in particular. People say Thomas Massie. I don't think he'll be the guy. Dan Bilzerian has talked about running for office. Maybe.
No, not Dan. Look, I would take Thomas Massie over Dan fucking Bilzerian. But I don't know if Massie doesn't have the charisma for a president. You still got to have that charisma. I don't know. Maybe I don't know Massie well enough, but he doesn't have the look. He doesn't have the charisma. You got to have you got to play the role, play the part a little bit.
It'll be somebody like him. Maybe it's somebody we haven't heard of yet. It could be somebody, this is a big country. It could be somebody that nobody even knows their name yet.
But I think all he knows is the fuck word. I mean,
he is he's a little jocular, but I wouldn't underestimate him.
I'm not against him.
I have that problem too.
Dude, you got a vocabulary? It's like, I don't know.
But yeah, I know what you mean. Hopefully, if he runs for office, maybe clean it up a little bit. Certainly clean up the language.
Not that. What about you, Nick?
I might run for office at some point. I think at this point in time, I see myself.
There's no way Nick Fuentes doesn't run for office at some point. But I think that his identity politics shit is going to be his downfall. If he does run for office, they're going to pull all the fucking, edgy race boy shit that he did in the past. And I don't know, maybe times will change and that will be not something that will destroy somebody. But I still think too many people in America are put off by the identity politics stuff, especially right-wing Republican types.
more as like a vanguard. And I think I'm maybe more powerful, not in a campaign, because you get in a campaign and then they turn it into, well,
no, I got it. You're more like John the Baptist out there. So we got some more time
John
left.
the
I want to
Baptist,
take a
what?
break, and maybe we can open the phones up
That's blasphemy to compare Nick Fuentes to John the Baptist, Alex. Come on, bro.
for like 20 minutes or something. I'm not sure, but we called it a debate because it is a debate. And I saw the stuff he said, and I get it. You can take what I said out of context. I am horrified. I've never saw evidence of Trump with any kids. They would have already used it. We know, and I was told, I got the calls, I already knew it. It's the CIA, it's the Mossad, it's national security. So then why did Trump act like...
So here's another insider fucking take. So Alex got the call. It is Mossad running things. I mean, that is a possibility that the Epstein thing could be just fucking, Mossad blackmail on our politicians. But I don't know. I'm not willing to say 100% that that's what it is, because it could be, our CIA that's behind all this shit as well.
Like that. And I'm not going to sign on to that because I've never sold out to the Democrats. They offer me all this money. I'm not going to sell out now to a lie. And you got Susie Wiles wants to keep fluoride in the water and mRNA shots. And they're trying to block Kennedy. He fires their people. But then I want to throw Trump out because I'm seeing a real struggle in his administration, which normally there's no struggle. It's just lockstep. So, to me, this is really paradoxical. And all I can do is just tell listeners what I'm seeing and say, this is what I'm seeing, because something that's complex I don't have the answers to. But, we have to have a larger discussion about what are we going to do if Trump has a heart attack next week? I mean, what would the Democrat, let me ask you this, Nick. What would have happened last year in Butler if Trump would have got his head blown off? What would have come out of that?
Well, I think that Nikki Haley would have taken the nomination, to tell you the truth, because Trump, at Butler, he had not yet chosen a VP. The only other person in the primary with any delegates was Nikki Haley. There would have been an open convention at the RNC. And of course, and the reason I say this is because, look, there would have been pandemonium. There would have been, who even knows, maybe riots, maybe violence, maybe something like this. But without a doubt, there would be this unbelievable mandate that'd be like, get a Republican in and declare martial law. But the question is, who would that fall to? And I think it would have been like a Nikki Haley coup or like a Ron DeSantis.
Kamala would have won, dude. If Kamala was running against Nikki Haley, I don't think she could have even beat Kamala. Because Nikki Haley has no fucking charisma. She's like a fucking ice cold witch, dude. Who wants to vote for that bitch?
Coup, they would have been crowned and propelled by the martyrdom of Trump. They would have gotten into office, and they would have, everything that they're running the playbook right now, they would have done it with a vengeance.
They would boomerang it.
Yeah. Well, and the right, in my opinion, is being empowered right now because of October 7th. I think that, when you look at all this anti-left-wing action, it is propelled, and maybe this is one-dimensional, but this is what I see. It is being propelled by the Jewish oligarchy in America that got woken up by October 7th. And that's why you got Bill Ackman saying Harvard is too woke, and Sean McGuire is a Trump supporter. Like, they're driving this big right-wing tilt, and it's because they want to crush anti-Semitism and they want to crush Palestine. So,
and what's so
I think
paradoxical is it's been the main Jewish lobby funding the Islamic invasion because it's anti-Western, and now they suddenly wake up to us. Let's go to break. Let's come back and talk about that. Israel, because clearly you can say Israel before we're just trying to control our foreign policy.
We can't talk about that, Alex.
With the Democrats in shambles, they're trying a takeover right now. So play a few promos. Let's come back to Nick Fuentes and get his take on that. But this is on July 2nd.
Let's skip ahead. Gotta skip ahead. Go support Alex if you like Alex. Damn, how long are the commercials, Alex? Jesus Christ, dude. My God. Okay, here we go.
Some chance to extricate this, but as I said 3+ weeks ago, before it even came out, this is Trump. And going against what he promised to do, the Epstein thing has created a wedge the Democrats are coming after. But then look at all the other issues and how he's so much better than them on others. And I want to keep the House.
Y'all talking about AOC. Look, if AOC lost a little bit of weight, got herself back in shape, and, you know, she got some better campaign writers and you know, got her act together, because there's a lot of cringe shit with AOC that probably won't play very well to a national audience. The AOC could be the next one. Gavin Newsom, too. I have a feeling it's going to be Gavin Newsom.
I also want to keep the Senate. And the Democrats are destroying themselves right now. It's very paradoxical. So the toll-free number to make your comment or question to Nick Fuentes or myself here tonight is 877-789-2539, 877-789-ALEX, 877-789-2539. We'll just take 5, 6, 7 calls. Or agree with you, and I know the behind-the-scenes stuff, of not that he's implicated, just the arrogance of they'll shut up if I tell them to, and now he sees that's not the case. And then the different scenarios of where this goes. So what is your positive vision versus your negative vision?
I don't really have a big positive vision for him. And the reason for that is because I think he has no ability to renew. I think that, you know, we both know in the first term, it was a lot of disappointments and a lot of unforced errors and failure. And we were looking for the second term to kind of restart. And
here's my prediction. AOC is going to release a sex tape, and her poll numbers are going to shoot through the fucking roof. And she will be the next president of the United States.
No, he's got to lay the land.
That's my prediction. AOC, sex tape, next president of the United States.
He's got personnel. He's got expertise. We thought he was going to make it better, but it's all the same mistakes. And so this is a very old guy. This kind of is the second chance, and he's blowing it. If he had the capability to reinvent himself at this point in time, which I don't think he does, you got to clean house. You got to get a new chief of staff. You got to get new personnel. And you would really need an intention to flip the script. And you would need to say the Epstein files are going out and use them to go after your enemies. You know, it's like you said, and we're kind of in agreement on this. Even if all of this has happened, if he went after his opponents like Clinton and Obama and Comey and Clapper, and if he raised some of these departments and agencies to the ground and he did the mass deportations, he would be forgiven. You know, he's a lame duck, and that could cut both ways. You could say nothing new can come out of it. He can't win again. At the same time, you would say he could kind of burn the house down on his way out, meaning not necessarily destructive, but he could really go for it, and he could really go for the institutions. And
so they're just talking in circles, one big circle jerk. Yeah, Chase, I thought it was going to be more of a heated debate, but they tend to agree on everything. I think there's still a disagreement where Alex still wants to give Trump a chance. Like, I mean, yeah, Trump could, in theory, all of a sudden release the Epstein files and start, like, you know, getting serious about what the America First movement wants. But it's not going to happen at this point. If he hasn't done it at this point, it's not going to happen. So, yeah, I'm honestly off the Trump train. I'm not a supporter anymore. But I will still call it as I see it. If he does something good, I'll say that's good. And if he does something bad, I'll say that's bad. But yeah, I'm ready for the next guy. I'm ready for the next movement or the next girl. Maybe it's Tulsi. Who knows?
Really
Whoever
go for these bad people.
Give me somebody better than Trump.
This is a crisis. This is like a hot potato. He has it. Pass it to the next person. You know, double it and pass it to Hillary Clinton. Why is he caught holding the bag and dying with the Epstein thing? So, you know, if I were him, and I'm not him, but if I was, and you can kind of see that he's doing this, he's flirting with the idea, take this political football, punt it, use it to blow up the left, use it to blow up the Democrat side, use it to raise some of these intelligence agencies, use this to split with Israel, you know, and some of this other stuff. There's opportunities on the table for him to have like a second wind, like a second act here in this already bad start for the second term. I just have no faith that he's going to take it, because what that would involve, I don't think he's capable of it. I don't think he's willing it. And that's sad. But if I were him, that's what I would do. You know, never let a crisis go to waste.
And you got
the
Susie
Democrats.
Wiles. So who do you see as the villains in the administration?
Susie Wiles, Brooke Rollins, I would say, this John Ratcliffe at the CIA. These are all terrible choices. I think probably the better people are Tulsi Gabbard. Even her, I don't trust, though. I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't trust her. And I don't trust J.D. Vance. I think he's a yes man. I think that he is a chameleon. But those would be the people that I would get rid of right out of the gate. The chief of
I
staff.
don't think there's any politician I can trust right now, but like if you had like a bunch of cards to play and each politician was a card, which one do you think has a shot of like not becoming a corrupt piece of shit and actually fixing some shit? There's still a possibility Tulsi could be somebody that's worth the shit. I don't know, but she's definitely presidential material. She carries herself right. She's got the look. So if she could start talking about shit like, we need to downsize the federal government. If I start hearing her talk about shit like that, it will definitely interest me. But right now, I want a fucking politician that's going to come out and go, the problem with our country is the federal government and the corruption that has taken over the federal government. So there's only one solution. We need to just start slashing as much of it as possible. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear somebody say that.
Staff, CIA director. Tulsi Gabbard, she's not even doing a good job as the DNI. We need someone, I would say she's ideologically presented as more sound. She's not doing a good job. I would just purge the whole thing. I think Kristi Noem's got to go. She's way more focused on, the former campaign manager, Corey Lewandowski, than she is, I think, on immigration. I would say that Stephen Miller's got to go, contrary to what people say. I think he's just got to purge the whole lot of them because there's no results. And when there's no results, people got to go. But I would start with Wiles, Rollins, Kristi Noem, John Ratcliffe, Tulsi Gabbard because she's not doing a good job, Pete Hegseth because he's malleable. Even
Tulsi's one of the few that's actually doing okay. Tulsi's one of the few coming out of this not looking like total shit. So I disagree there. And again, this goes against what they were saying earlier, which is it's not the people in the administration, it's Trump himself. So what good would it do to get rid of all these people when they're not even the problem? The problem is fucking Trump himself.
Even though some say he's on side. Rubio, he's got to go yesterday.
Yeah, 10 more for 200, boys. See if we can do it.
He's terrible. Those would be the ones I get rid of. And then everybody else I get rid of the day after.
Rubio literally threatened to attack me physically, but he seems to be singing from a MAGA script. What's wrong with Rubio?
I've heard that, and that's been a line
Rubio is Ted Cruz. They're the same. That's another thing when it's like, oh, Rubio's going to be the Secretary of State. What the fuck, Rubio? These are neocons, dude.
Heard on social media, but there was this memo that came out the other day. He's pushing the president to take a tougher line on Russia, China, Venezuela.
Well, no shit, dude. No shit Marco Rubio's doing that. Everybody's kissing Marco Rubio's ass. When we had the Iran shit going on, I was like, I know fucking Rubio's got Trump's ear, and he's like, oh, we need regime change. Of course, Rubio's the one pushing that shit to Trump. Gotta be. Rubio's fucking, I hate Rubio, dude.
Iran.
I hate that guy.
He's leading the charge to take people's citizenship at the State Department and deport them for anti-Semitism. He was pushing, I believe, some of the regime change stuff against Iran. So
let me ask
he's
you
another
this.
one I don't
I'm sure
trust.
You've seen the ambassador to Israel.
I've never heard that before, that Rubio was the one pushing it. But if you were to ask me to take a guess of which one was probably pushing it, yeah, Marco Rubio. So I guess Nick's heard some more details about that. But that makes perfect sense to me.
Sent a letter 2 weeks ago saying, please stop attacking Christians. And the settlers are attacking Christian ancient churches in the West Bank and other areas. And even the huge Christian Zionist, the former governor of Arkansas, is coming out and saying, please stop. And now they've burned down more churches. What do you make of that behavior?
I think it's a load of crap. I think it's meant to placate us. I think that Israel messed up when they shot that church, and they knew they messed up because even a lot of the big Zionists said, okay, we have a problem. You tried to shoot a cross off a church and you clearly missed. And there's no excuse for that, especially with everything else that people have been forced to defend and put up with. So I think when Mike Huckabee says they're putting pressure on Israel not to attack Christians, I think that's performative. And the reason I think it's performative is because, look, Washington holds all the cards with all of it. We give them the weapons. Like, they're totally dependent on us.
No, I'm not denying that. I'm saying, why would Israel be blowing up churches and firebombing ancient Christian settlements when the Protestant Christian Zionists send them billions a year? It just shows chutzpah to the next level.
I think they've lost control. I think even to some extent the IDF. I mean, they're shooting people in the back of the head getting aid, and those are Muslims. They're blowing up churches. That church, the cardinal there, Pisabella, he was calling Pope Francis every day as Pope Francis prayed for Gaza. And you know the Israelis had to hate that. They hate that the Catholic Church is speaking out against the war. They hate that every time something happens, the Catholic Church calls for Israel to stop the invasion. They hate that Francis was...
What a dumb move. So Israel's actually hitting Christian churches? I didn't even know there were Christian churches in Gaza, but I should have known better. I'm guessing we're talking about Gaza. U.S. attack on West Bank Palestinian church was act of terror. So that was a Christian church? How dumb is Israel, dude? How dumb are you to do something like that? Like, do you not care about the optics, or you just have no control over where your fucking missiles go? I don't know, man. I don't follow the Palestine shit enough. But that's such a dumb fucking move, dude.
Calling the church. And so I think whether it came from the top or whether it was freelancing in the IDF, they said, you know what? It's time to, let's take a shot at these Catholics. Enough calling for the end of the war, enough praying for the people of Gaza. I think they are just...
West Bank? Okay, not even Gaza. Yeah, that's how little I know about Gaza. I try to ignore that shit because it seems like a fucking quagmire that is not useful to me. There's so much shit higher up on my list of things to worry about than that.
Totally bloodthirsty and emboldened. I think, the way they've been conducting this entire thing.
But even so, if it was an Israel strike, even if it's the West Bank and not Gaza, whatever, if Israel accidentally blew up a Christian church, what the fuck? That's pretty dumb, dude.
With the aid sites, they're clearly emboldened because, whether it's shooting the church, and as a Catholic, I'm mortified that's such a horrible thing. But at the same time, they're also murdering and starving people to death, while even Trump and the Europeans are telling them, you got to feed these people.
Sure, but you're talking about you're talking about Gaza blowing up the church. They're now burning down the West Bank Christian communities.
Well, and here's my point is, I think that the Israelis just don't care. That's kind of my point is, if the Israelis cared about winning over the public and getting people on their side, they would have been doing a lot of things differently, whether it's the Christian communities in Gaza or the West Bank.
Alan, yeah, obviously I care about Alan says, where do you go? Yeah, you don't want to know about your taxes, what your taxes are paying for. Good point. Of course I want to know what my taxes are paying for. Are you saying I support my taxes going to fucking Palestine or anywhere other than America? That doesn't mean I have to be inundated with all the bullshit about fucking Palestine every day. What I want is to not fucking give a shit because it's 1,000 miles away and we should be not involved in any way. But more than, however fucking far it is, it's not my problem, dude. We got way more shit to worry about in America. Does that mean, I want my tax dollars to go there? No, dumbass. Why would you come away with that point? Why would you think that's what I'm saying? It's the opposite of what I want. I want none of our tax. In fact, I want all of our tax dollars just to go to America, and I want that to be a lot less than what we're already paying. Way, way, way less.
Settlers.
To fund a much, much smaller government.
That are spitting on the Christian missionaries.
I don't give a fuck about Gaza. I'm not following every little thing going on in Gaza. Sorry if that disappoints you.
That's what Huckabee was referring to. That's something that's been going on for a long time. To the extent that Huckabee's taking up that issue, I think that's damage control. I think that's a big farce.
I agree. He wants to get all that money. He leads those groups there. So then the larger question is looking at Russia.
It's my problem, Alan. Okay, Alan, what don't you understand? I don't want us to be involved in any way. Okay? So why do I need to understand every fucking detail about Gaza when my position is get the fuck out of there. Let them do whatever the fuck they want to do. It's not our business. So, but I got to follow every in and out to have that opinion? It's weird, Alan. It's a weird take. No, I don't give a fuck about Gaza. It seems to trigger you, Alan. I don't know why.
And Ukraine and Trump with a 10-day ultimatum issued 2 days ago to Russia. Where do you see that going?
I think it's going where you think it's going. I think it's going nuclear. This is an escalation. And like everything else, Trump only knows one language, which is escalation and these maximalist demands. The reason that he's making this 10-day ultimatum is because he is bent over backwards to make a deal with Putin. And he's gone through these big gestures, meeting with them in Riyadh in the first few weeks, a very high-level meeting, the Secretary of State and the Foreign Minister. He's made these overtures to normalize relations. And Putin is not biting. Putin is not giving him anything. Trump is throwing Zelensky under the bus. He's going against the...
You're brain dead, Alan. You're fucking brain dead, bro. but God love you.
Europeans, and Putin will not give him an inch. And so I think Trump is just like everything else. He's pissed off. And he's just saying, you know what? F this guy. That's effectively where we are. It's basically what he's saying. He's saying, look, Putin doesn't want to end the war. Okay, no more Mr. Nice Guy. You want Joe Biden back? I'll give you Joe Biden on steroids. It's the same thing he did with China. It's the same thing he did with Canada with some of the tariffs. It's the same thing he did with the Houthis.
No, I agree with you. So why?
How is tariffing Canada Joe Biden on steroids? Joe Biden would never fucking do that. I don't know. That one didn't make sense to me.
Why is Russia not making a deal?
Because Russia's winning. Russia's in the middle of this summer offensive. The warfare is all drone-based. Russia's leading the way on the battlefield in innovation.
No shit, Russia's winning, really?
Got these fiber optic drones. They're attached by a cable. And so they are making more advances into Ukraine this summer than they have basically since the beginning of the war, since the very beginning.
That's right.
And it's going to go that way.
So guys, let me understand this right in the comment section. America first means I'm supposed to be worried about fucking other countries across the world? Is that what that's supposed to mean? I'm supposed to be worried about every little skirmish that breaks out between countries across the world? That doesn't sound like America first to me. I don't give a shit about anything going on. As long as it's not affecting us, like, you know, we're not being attacked. I don't give a shit if a country invades another country, if there's a fucking little war over here. I don't give a shit about any of that, dude. To me, that's America first. It's paying attention to the problems we have in our own fucking country. And unless something's seriously affecting us overseas, then who gives a shit? It's not our problem.
Optic drones.
Right. And Ukraine has no counter for that right now. So, you know, there's this rapid innovation happening on the back.
Yes, Alan. And if it was up to me, we wouldn't be, you dumbass. What don't you understand about my point, Alan? Yes, my country's backing it. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with all of the fucking world policing we're doing, Alan. Okay, I don't know, Alan. I'm done responding to you because you're just going in circles. You don't seem to be actually listening to the words coming out of my mouth.
Battlefield, Russia's leading it. And I think that, you know, why is Russia going to give up now? They're gobbling up all this land and they're saying maybe they'll make a deal in the future, but they want to get as much as they can before they make a deal. And so both sides are being greedy. The United States is being greedy. Russia's being greedy. Russia wants to have the best position to make a deal. So does the United States. And so they're both saying, you know, we don't want to make a deal, but especially Russia is saying, we don't want to make a deal just yet. We want to take more. Then we'll make a deal when we're in a better position.
All right, let's take a few calls. I agree with you on that. But Democrats, what are their aces in the holes? They've been saying Tom Homan is going to kill migrants, clearly setting up a false flag. They've been wanting a summer of rage. You know, the No Kings protests, that all failed. The hitman up there killing people says he works for Tampon Tim. What do the Democrats do?
I think they still don't know. They appear to still be in disarray. There is no leader of the Democrats. There's no strong messaging. What they will run on in the next year is the big, beautiful bill, which is extremely unpopular. They're going to run on corporate tax cuts for Medicaid, fighting the oligarchy, fighting the king, the immigration stuff, and Epstein. That's going to be their playbook. As far as instability, I do agree that the deep state, it's clear they're ginning up something. And the question is really more like, are we going to get an Israeli false flag or a Democrat false flag first? Are we going to get like some kind of ICE false flag by the Democrats? Or are we going to get a Hamas, Hezbollah false flag?
Israel's planning
a question of what?
Netanyahu ran 9/11. He's planning to do that.
Netanyahu ran 9/11? Holy shit. Holy shit. So yeah, I mean, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I don't know. It's weird to me that it's like it's Israel that's doing all this and not the actual fucking behemoth that is the United States. I don't know. I guess it's all possible, huh?
Or will we get or both false flag on the illegal aliens?
I think it's kind of a foregone conclusion, and we might even get something organic. You know, I mean, the left, they really have no options in the sense that, yeah, they might have something where they're really leaning into this thing where they're saying that the illegal immigrants are being stripped of their civil liberties or legal immigrants are getting caught up in the dragnet. That doesn't even seem to be working. What is going to happen, though, is another left-wing nut job is going to kill a bunch of people, and that is going to sink them.
So we're going to take a few calls and let you go.
It never does, though. Every time there's a left-wing nut job who does anything, it just gets like barely reported on and then swept under the rug. So I don't know. if it's a right-wing guy that does something, it's like his face, his picture, everything about him we know about within 2 days. But it's a left-wing guy. Nope. We don't even get to hear about it. You know, so I don't know. I don't know if that'll be enough to sink them if that was to happen. But Nick seems to be pretty good with the predictions. I hope he's wrong on this one, because who wants that to happen?
Oh, it's been a good
We
discussion.
don't need any more bullshit.
In your view, if you were Trump, what would you do to extricate yourself from the path he's on right now? I mean, is there any way to say what Trump's doing?
The only pathway is forward, always forward. So look, if he's getting hit over Epstein, he's got to give the base more. Take advantage of the crisis, you know, and maybe it wasn't 5D chess. Obviously it wasn't, but play it like it was anyway. If there's this big demand for the files, just act like you were playing it that way anyway. Dump the stuff on the Clintons, dump the stuff on these people, go out, even use it as leverage against Israel.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Dump
That's
it.
a no-brainer. So why won't he do it?
I don't know. It depends on what's in them, you know, and maybe that raises a question. Is it a mutually assured destruction? Like that seems to me to be the obvious, because that's what people say. They say, why did Biden not use it against Trump? Why won't Trump use it against the Democrats? Probably because there's mutually assured destruction. If the Democrats used it on Trump.
All right, look, it's not hard to fucking just pick and choose the pieces you want to release. Do you want me to do it? Put me in charge. I'll fucking edit that shit so it's only the fucking Democrats or it's only the Republicans. It's not fucking hard to do, guys. Okay? So let's stop pretending like if you release it, it's going to be on everybody. No, you can edit it to just be who you want it to be about. That is a very real possibility. So maybe at least we could do that. Edit the shit about him out and give us everything else. At least that'd be, for Trump, it'd be better than what he's doing now.
They would burn up.
Which is the
if Trump
dangerous
uses
game. Senator Wyden's trying to get Epstein's bank records.
Ben Stevens super chatted $2.
What's up, Ben?
Megyn Kelly for AG. IPAC registered under FARA.
I don't know about Megyn Kelly, man. She's cute. She's cute. I do like her, but I don't trust her. I definitely don't trust her. But thank you for the $2, brother.
The Democrats are doing the DOJ. I totally agree. It's mutually assured destruction. So why are they doing it? Because I don't think these Congress people realize what they're doing.
Yeah, they're playing a dangerous game. Then again, it's a generational thing. Maybe the Democrats think that it's not going to hurt them that bad. It's these guys like Bill Clinton. Epstein's operation was really the labor Democrat alliance from the 90s. Labor in the UK, Labor in Israel, the Dems in the United States. That was in the 90s. So I think maybe some of the younger guys are thinking, we're going to push on this. It's hurting Trump. Maybe it's like this, it's this effect where they just want to hit Trump by any means necessary. So maybe they're not aware of the risks of
all
this.
The evidence points towards them getting in trouble. So then why is Trump covering it up? I keep repeating the same question. It's idiotic. Because if I thought he was involved, I would have supported him. That's why any evidence, I'll turn on his ass in a second. But then why is he acting guilty when I don't see evidence of it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the $1 million question.
Probably because the evidence of it is in the Epstein files. I would say most likely.
Because
we're never getting the Epstein files, by the way. It's never going to happen. We're never getting them.
We don't know what's in them. We can only speculate. And since he's in them, he's named in them, he knows he's named in them, you got to know that he must be worried about an indictment or even the appearance of impropriety, which could lead to an impeachment. That's the other thing is he's in office. So if we lose the midterms, if the Republicans lose the midterms and something is...
Cardinal Agagnian super chatted $6.66. Funny channel. Props.
What an odd currency conversion rate for Australian. $10 becomes $6.66. And you're a cardinal? Bro, you got to do some extra Hail Marys tonight, bro. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the 10. Yeah, it's just weird that it translates to 666 in American dollars. Crazy. Thank you, brother.
Is damning in those files, they'll impeach him. Maybe he's worried about that.
Let me ask you this before I take a few calls. What do you think is going to happen with this Crossfire Hurricane? Talking of indictments, more talk?
I think it's all talk. They've talked and talked about that. I'm not going to hold.
His cane sword. Super chatted $10. The Clinton/Obama Russia collusion hoax is bigger than Epstein right now. There are documents.
Yeah, we got that. If I have time, we'll get to that this episode. But there's still 40 minutes left on this one. But if I don't get to that tonight, I'll get to that tomorrow. Yeah, I got all that saved. It's a big deal. A lot of people want to say, oh, it's just a diversion. Okay, maybe it is a diversion, but it doesn't mean it's still not a big fucking deal. In that all those people involved in the fucking Russian narrative, you know, the Clintons, the Obamas, should face some sort of justice for it. But that's the part where, again, the most frustration part for me is nothing will happen to Clinton. Hillary Clinton, nothing will happen to her. Obviously, Obama's, you know, he's got the presidential fucking, whatever, the protection of being a president that you can't really press charges for him for what he did as president. Unless it's treason. I heard if it's treason, then you can. Like, there's no protection for that. I don't know. But definitely Clinton, you can go after Clinton. But it won't. It will never happen. So it's just red meat for his base, you know, to get him pumped up. But it is nice to see those documents being uncovered and, like, seeing what they were up to.
Hold my breath for them to bring charges. It's a load of crap every time, you know. Very frustrating. You and I, we're the victims of lawfare. Somehow all of our enemies, even though we win the White House twice, they never do. I think it's honestly infuriating. Don't talk about it, do it. Trump posts these AI edits of him like arresting Obama. Yeah, you're the president. You don't need to make a cartoon about it. Do it. Pick up the phone, sign the damn executive order, and you do it. You know, and MAGA needs to get better about that. MAGA loves taking the bait, and they see a funny post on Truth Social and go, LOL, this is the best.
Yeah, this is pretty much what I was saying, but Nick's saying it better than I did. I agree completely with what he's saying.
Dude, I'm sick of advertisements and AI edits. He's the president. Make something happen. Take action. There's a lot of forgiveness if he would reward his base, but he does nothing. And that's the problem. So, and the base needs to get better about being vocal about that and stick up for themselves. They're afraid. You know, they're defending Trump. I mean,
we're getting the real version of Trump because this is the first time Trump's fucking running things without the worry of having to run for another election. Like, I mean, he doesn't even seem to give a fuck about the midterms at this point. Like, he's in there, he's got what he wants, and he don't give a fuck about pleasing anybody right now. That's what it seems like.
Negotiating with themselves. We need to ask better of Trump.
No,
you know,
I agree,
there could be
because
forgiveness.
as soon as I and you and others came out 3 weeks ago on Trump, this is insane, the whole influencer thing attacked us and said we were Democrats. Now they have to admit, oh God, this was a disaster. Are they getting talking points? Or, I mean, obviously they are. These people are a joke.
They're totally getting talking points. That's clear because they're all running the same script. Every real, authentic patriot is pissed about the Epstein files because it's indefensible. I mean, we've all seen it. We all know what it is. It's literally indefensible the way it's been handled. And all they can bring themselves to say about it is these talking points about, oh, well, Trump kicked Epstein out of his club. Oh, well, you know, it's a Democrat thing. Oh, it's five-dimensional chess. So it's literally being coordinated in group chats. A script has gone out. They're being paid by PACs or, you know, something like Influenceable or something like that. And people should take note of who's defending this.
No, I agree. But
they lost a lot of credibility.
I'm just trying to figure out a way out of this and wargaming it. But it looks progressively worse every day. And then I just ask myself, why did Trump have to destroy himself on this hill? There's not evidence. And that's the big question. That is the big question. Art.
The crew is on point with their fucking B-rolls. Why did Trump have to? And then they show him with Epstein. Well, I think the crew thinks Trump got up to some shit with Epstein. Got up to some really, really terrible stuff with Epstein. It is a question like that's worth asking. Like, why would you destroy yourself like this? This is why it's believable to think, okay, he must have been up to some sexual shit. Something that's so bad, it will literally destroy him and his entire legacy. Why else would you then, you know, be willing to ruin your legacy just to protect that? Because whatever's in those files is so bad, it's worse than looking like a complete fucking cover-up, you know? It's bad. It's got to be bad. Whatever's in those files about Trump's got to be bad. It's got to look bad.
Nick's been very nice to this interview, this debate, and I want to let him go soon. The crew's been here since 6 a.m. So,
see, you are saying, why is Alex learning his words? He's fucking tired, dude. This is they did this last night at 9 p.m. So this is probably like, how far are we into this? An hour and 20. So this is probably like 10:30 that he's been working all day, and he might have had a couple drinks to help with the stress, okay? It's a stressful time right now, okay? We might all need a couple drinks just to get through this.
So let's go ahead and take a few phone calls. We'll move quickly. Your questions or comments for Nick Fuentes, Nick J. Fuentes on Rumble and on X. I'm the real Alex Jones. But this is really, Has
anybody seen this? Is it worth still watching? Looks like there's 30 minutes left and they're going to take calls, and the calls are always kind of boring. We'll give it a shot. We'll see what happens.
integrity, folks. We're wargaming it. There's not a script. We're trying to figure this out. I feel like it's awake, actually. I mean, I'm horrified. I just have nothing else to say other than I just, my God, if Trump doesn't start indicting people, if they don't release the Epstein files very soon, then
I feel your pain.
It is going against my own personal interest. These Democrats I know are evil, want to put me in prison, but I cannot join with something that's a lesser evil. So I have my guts torn out my ass right now.
Ben Stevens super chatted $4.20. Do you think Donnie Jr. or Eric are in the files?
I couldn't tell you if they are, but it's definitely a possibility. It's something you have to be open to. Anybody can be in those files. I mean, if you ran in the same circles as Epstein, like Trump did, I don't know if I've heard about Eric or Donnie Jr. Hanging out with Epstein, but anything's a possibility right now, man. Everybody's a suspect, bro.
But I've got to tell the truth, and I am. All right, let's go to...
There's the other rumor that Melania was introduced to Trump by Epstein, and that she might have been one of the women that were part of the sex trafficking ring. There's a lot of theories. I heard that one got debunked, but I don't know.
Ethan in Alabama, you're on the air. Go ahead, you're on the air.
Hey, how you doing?
Go ahead.
Yes, just forgive me a little bit. I'm a little nervous because you guys are both my inspirations, especially Nick. I just recently became a goiper. I don't mean to take y'all's time, but...
Listen, stop apologizing. You're on the air. Just, what's your point?
Okay.
I knew this was... Alex gets so mad at the callers, especially like the callers that are nervous and can't talk. It's like, all right, hurry up, get to your fucking point.
So my question...
I don't blame him, by the way. Thank you, Corn Pop.
Corn Pop _82
nice
super
name.
chatted $5. What if Bill Barr and the intelligence community convinced Trump to take Epstein out and that truth is in the files? It could explain a lot.
That's a possibility too, bro. I mean, all this shit happened under Trump. You know, Epstein was arrested under Trump. He, supposedly committed suicide under Trump. All that's a possibility, man. There's so many possibilities at this point that, yeah. I mean, it's a believable one too, since all this shit did happen under Trump. And then they released that bullshit video to try to get us to look the other way and be like, oh, there's nothing to see here, guys. He definitely killed himself. Trump campaign doing that. So definitely a possibility, a high possibility.
Question to you, Alex, was if Nick were by chance...
Doge with another 5 gifted. Doge, you're very generous, brother. Appreciate you. Who do we got this time? Sneak King, Doc Jeffrey, Wave Rider, Vincent Kelly, Energetic Giraffes. A bunch of great names. Something like that as well. All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to the team, and say thank you to Doge, who's obviously being very generous tonight. Doge, I think Doge might own a lot of Bitcoin, guys. No, thank you, Doge. Much love, dude. Appreciate you.
Goiper war against like the Trump movement. Like, would you be a part of the movement? Because I'm getting tired of these Judeo-Catholics, Judeo-Christians in the office dictating our government, and I just...
All right, let me respond to that. 3 weeks ago, I came out day one and said this is BS within hours of it breaking. And I've tried to figure it out since. So I am at war with the Republican establishment trying to control Trump. So...
Are we going to get drunk Alex back? Are we going to... I mean, what if like in 2 years, Alex is back to being really overweight and drunk again? Alex, come on, stay strong, Alex. Having a little drinky poo now and then, not a big deal. But it tends to turn into a problem with Alex.
Oh, it's not, I would, if Nick launched some war against Trump that he kind of already has, I would then get...
It's also possible that he's just tired, okay? That is also possible, guys.
Agent and say, do I agree with it? He kind of already did it. So I think you're kind of like behind the curve here. I think we're already here, and we're saying we want to get Trump steered back. Can he be salvaged? We're having a discussion about this. We know the Democrats are pure evil. Is that a fair statement, Nick?
Yeah, absolutely. We are and have been at war with Trump for a long time. And, you know, I think that, as you said, if you watch your show, you did come out on day one and it was highly publicized. It was everywhere. And you said, this is reprehensible what Trump is doing. And the question now is just, what form is this going to take next? And I have some ideas, but my first inclination is
let me stop you again. Exactly. We're now looking at wreckage.
Welcome, Ian Undercover.
I'll be honest, I don't get her decisive and say, I've got all the answers. I am literally like been in a car wreck. And the cars are all blown up. People are laying on the ground. I think we're trying to figure this out, right, Nick?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're right. We don't know what's going on and we don't know the way forward. But my first inclination is we have to punish them, you know, and I know people didn't like my tactics last year, but my first instinct when I heard this is when Trump said, I don't want your support, my first thought is that needs to be on billboards. That needs to be projected at rallies. Come to the midterms. People need to say, and remember that I don't want your support.
No, you're right. Our only hope is killing.
I'm never forgetting that, dude. I think a lot of people are never going to forget that Trump did that. I mean, it was bad enough flip-flopping on the Epstein files and saying, oh, he definitely killed himself and there's nothing to see here. But then when he says, like, I don't even want your support anymore because you're asking for a very simple thing called fucking transparency, which you ran on, Trump. You ran on delivering that to the people. Yeah, that was when he lost my support. That's when I was like, okay, thank God I don't have to vote anymore because I wouldn't be voting for this guy. So who's next? I don't think people are going to get over that. That was such a fucking dumb move.
His hubris. Like, if there's any salvaging him, which is actually working some, he tried to say, oh, take the vaccine. People backlash. He backed off.
Exactly.
So is Trump, gut level, is Trump salvaged?
Did he really back off? Because I don't remember him backing off. He just stopped talking about it, which everybody did eventually. But yeah, again, that's another thing we got to look back on with different eyes. 2020. A lot of us were like, oh, he just fell for it and he got bad advisors. And it's like, no, actually, you know, a lot of the shit that the worst parts of 2020 and COVID happened under Trump's watch. So I look at that different. I already did blame him in the first place for falling for it and locking down and like going along with the narrative. Yeah, he turned around on it real quick, a lot quicker than the Democrats. But he's still, there's so much responsibility for what happened falls on his hands. So yeah, we got to stop making excuses for this fuckhead, man. We really do. It's him. It's on him.
Eligible.
No. Gut level, no. We have to push anyway. We have to push, and either he will capitulate and we'll be surprised, or we push and we push into something new, and it becomes the basis of a new movement.
And then we get his orbit to do the right thing.
Exactly right. And it's sort of like the first order, you know, something emerges out of the shell of Trumpism and we carry it forward. The forward must be the battle cry, always forward. You know, I'm not a hater and I'm with you on that.
Yeah, P-Money, they were installed at the local level. It was the governors and mayors that were controlling that and doing the mask mandates. I remember the mayor wanted the mask mandates. The governor said no, where I'm from in Texas, Abbott. And then some judge just fucking decreed it and everybody had to wear masks. So yeah. But if you remember, Trump was all for the 2 weeks to stop the spread. You like a lot of you probably still think it was okay to lock everything down for 2 weeks. No, it fucking wasn't. No, it wasn't. We should have never allowed them to fucking go and decide when you can leave your house, even for 1 day, 2 days. Now, if there was a real pandemic, everybody would have seen it. It would have been in your face. You would have seen people dropping dead everywhere. So people shouldn't have fallen for it. I didn't fall for it. Why? Because I got family that work at hospitals. I was getting the real on-the-ground story. And I was seeing in front of my eyes what was really going on. All the numbers about how bad it was. You know, the death rates, all that was already out really early if you wanted to listen. If you were paying attention. But no, 2 weeks to slow down the spread. Which I said, it's not going to be 2 weeks. It's going to last for fucking a long time. It probably lasts over a year. It did. And, but okay, it wasn't Trump. Yeah, it was Trump. Yeah, he turned quick and then started telling everybody, open up, and we're not going to stop. But he fucking played into it to allow us to even get in that situation in the first place. So maybe he was just naive and got played. But to me, he was the president. The buck stops with him.
We don't want to be haters bitching about it and say, well, this sucks. We're out. No, we're in this. We want to see positive change. And if Trump isn't going to do it, we'll carry it forward without him. That's got to be the message.
Exactly. I'm not rooting against Trump. I'm horrified. And you're right to say that I've tried to gymnastics war game it, but I've been honest, I don't know. And I'm just disgusted. Johnny in Florida, you're on the air. Go ahead.
0 times, Michael. How many times did you? Michael, sure. 0 times. I never even got COVID. Why would I bother with any of that bullshit, dude? I have old family members. They all got COVID. The ones that got COVID got over it. A lot of them didn't get COVID. If I got COVID, I don't know. I never felt it. It never caused me any symptoms, so I never got tested. So yeah, why are you making the assumption I took the jab? What kind of dumb fucking comment is that, dude? Some of you new people are pretty fucking dumb. Not all of you. Some of you are cool, but there's some new people in here who are pretty fucking dumb. Okay. Okay.
Have you got me?
Yes, I got you, Johnny. Go ahead.
All right, look, I'm going to tell you all what kind of outstanding job you both did, but I'm just going to say this point blank to Nick Fuentes. It's just like when Christ picked up that stone and said, cast the ones amongst you cast.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Alex has got to be pissed off about this call already. Like, can you find somebody who can actually talk for like 10 to 20 seconds and just spit it out?
First stone. I'm not saying that because I'm a Christian. I'm saying that because that's a fact that it happened. The only thing I can say...
Yeah, old people died, Doc. Whoa, really? Old people dying? Cool, that's new. I didn't know old people fucking died. Oh, yeah, old people died. Old people are always dying. The flu is always going around killing people. I mean, if we're going to behave the way we did in 2020 over COVID, then we should do that every year for the fucking flu. Because what are we talking about here? Some of you are you actually defending? I mean, you actually think that was good what we did to the economy, which we're still suffering from? We still haven't got back to the production levels that we had back then. We're still lagging behind. Every year our GDP grows. We're still lagging behind because we had negative fucking GDP growth in 2020. And a big part of the reason why food is still expensive and not going down is because we haven't got production levels back up in line with the growth. Because guess what happens when you lock down the government and you put a bunch of money into the fucking economy? You create a bunch of demand as the fucking supply goes down. But blame Biden, blame everybody else. No, it was 2020 and the locking down of the government while you fucking pumped money into the economy that has caused all of this inflation. And who did that? Whose watch were we under? Yeah, Biden played a big role in that. He didn't make it better. But let's pretend like Trump didn't fuck it up big time.
Say is that Trump's going to have a come to Jesus moment, and he's going to pick up a stone and say, y'all throw the first stone at whoever's guilty. Other than that, we don't build our nation upon hatred.
And I don't know why you're saying price controls. No, we don't need price controls. We need Trump to get serious about figuring out how to get production back. How to because we're still getting less cattle production every year in Texas. That's why beef is like $7 a fucking pound or whatever it is. So yeah, we just got to really focus on ramping up production as high as we can to try to make up for the fucking year plus of lost production.
We try to work with what we got and build it to be better. That's all I got to say, and I appreciate both of you.
Nick, I think you put that point out. How do the Democrats try to connect him to Epstein when they're completely convicted of it? It is a he without sin throw the first stone.
I don't know that applies. I mean, if they're all guilty of this, then they all got to go. You know what I mean? Like, we could say the Democrats are hypocrites, but then we could say Trump is a hypocrite.
No, I agree. But how do they use Epstein on him when they're confirmed involved?
Yeah, again, I think it depends on what's in the files, which we don't know. But at the same time, Trump runs the DOJ, so the onus is on him. You know, I mean, I'm really just not interested in that. When people...
John McCarter, shout out, man. You'll be all right, bro. You got to really stop reading all the comments, John. You can't let the comments get you down, especially if you're going to run for president, John. You got to have thicker skin. And don't let the comments get you down, John. Shout out. Hope you're doing well, John.
say Democrats and
Everybody say hi to John. I hope he's doing well. Y'all haven't been too mean to him in the comment section.
Republicans, I say you're repeating yourself. You're talking about the same people. So, people want to make it about the...
John, do you use AI to write for you, John? Because I saw a video where like a lot of people with severe autism like yourself, where they have a hard time communicating, so they kind of let AI kind of write for them. Do you do that, John? I wonder. Let me know, John.
The Republicans versus the Democrat. And, I
agree. What do you
totally
make
get
of
what you're
Mike
saying.
Johnson and Senator Thune trying to block and have fake congressional resets so Trump doesn't get his nominees?
I don't know what game they're playing with that. I think that, that's leverage they have against Trump. I think that Mike Johnson's more loyal to Trump.
That Trump's actually weak, that they're doing that.
Right. I think that I don't know about that necessarily. I think that Johnson's doing it on Trump's behalf. He's covering it up for Trump.
So you think he's doing a reset to cover it up?
I do. I think John Thune wants leverage against Trump. Trump and Thune are not aligned, but I think Johnson's covering it up on his behalf.
Dave in FEMA Region 9, that's on the West Coast. Go ahead, Dave. You're on the air with Nick Fuentes.
VIP members out here. Thank you, Alex. Thanks, Nick. So the Epstein list for me is not about Epstein. It's about exposing the people that raped children for decades, right? But unfortunately, we live in a post-constitutional era. And right now, it's the legislative branch and the sociopathic control oligarchs from past administrations, deep embeds in the FBI, CIA, that are ruining our republic. So I don't think that MAGA base is walking away from President Trump, because we're not ideologues. A single issue, whether the FBI is slow walking this or the DOJ is slow walking this, is not going to prevent us from supporting the MAGA movement, which is way bigger than President Trump. It's about we the people. The coup against President Trump in 16 and 20 and the one against President Biden puppet in 2024 was not against those three figureheads. It was against we the people.
I always think I fucking pause the video before it plays, and it plays. Here, look, this is the video I was talking about. Oh, come on. Move over here. There we go. Yeah. So this is like from 8 years ago. So I imagine the technology now with AI has gotten even better to help people like this communicate. I think, John, is this what you're doing? Something similar to this?
Orion is...
Oops.
City News. Orion is non-verbal, but he has lots to say.
Do it again.
I am 5 years old. I have a brother named Saren.
Using an electronic program called Language Acquisition through Motor Planning, he is...
I think I don't know, John, if you're typing yourself or you're using something like that. I was just wondering. I was curious, man. But I hope you're doing good, John. Don't let the chat... They're saying there's John imposters now pretending to be you, John. That's because you're very popular, John. And, you're going to run for president, so people are going to pretend to be you, dude. That's just... There's no way around that, bro. You're popular, man. It comes with the territory of being popular, dude. All right, let's get. We'll finish this. We're already an hour and a half in.
So we will get a chance to destroy this.
Finish it.
This establishment class, these sociopathic control oligarchs.
Well, I mean, I would raise that. Yeah, I hear you. On the trade, on cutting deep state funding. I mean, there is a lot of good happening, Nick. That's what's so painful about this.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't think you can treat it as a singular issue. And you talk about oligarchs. I mean, Trump, by definition, is an oligarch. He is a billionaire. I mean, look at his cabinet. Linda McMahon, Howard Lutnick, Scott Bessent. Scott Bessent comes from Soros. He worked for Soros. I mean, if they're not oligarchs, then who is? Peter Thiel, J.D. Vance. I mean, look at the people that supported Trump getting into office. It was Silicon Valley, Wall Street, the Israel lobby, and then Trump hired all of them. I mean, all the people in the DOD and the Pentagon are Musk people. If Elon Musk and Peter Thiel are not oligarchs, who is? So this is what I'm talking about.
What do you make of the Musk-Trump split? I mean, that looks pretty real.
Oh, I think it's real, but that's just one other oligarch. I think that's got nothing to do with what's going on. At least Elon Musk was calling out the Epstein stuff on June 5th.
Well,
he said that Trump is in the files.
I saw you say he's owed an apology.
Absolutely. And I said it, and you said it too. The day it happened, I said, Elon is right. He has no reason to lie. And everybody said, oh, that's fake. Trump deflected from it. So yeah, absolutely. But this whole thing about, Epstein's one little issue. It's about the Republic or whatever. First of all, we don't have Republic. That is a fiction. Second of all, Trump is the oligarch candidate. If there ever was one, he is the congenital oligarch if there ever was one. So, but MAGA people need to wake up. This is what I'm talking about. These are like the mind raped. These are the raped, brainwashed people that bought into this scam.
Oh, this kind of makes me sad. Remember this when Elon went in with his son? When they were friendly and yeah. Oh, what a different time. How bad things have gotten since this beautiful moment. When the kid was picking his nose and putting it on the desk. And then it sounded like he was cussing out Trump at one point. It was cute. It was cute as fuck. Yeah. Oh, what could have been?
And they think that Trump is carrying the banner forward. It's like, look around you. I mean,
well, Nick, that's where I made this
database.
I mean, they see the good appointments and things better than Democrats. I don't do lesser, of two evils. But overall, I don't think all Trump supporters sort of the Q-tards, well, now they're waking up too. It's just...
Are they really?
It's hard to look at the Democrats and then just totally turning against Trump, but I get what you're saying. It's a bad sign. Let's take a few more calls. Brian in Arizona, you're on the air. Brian, go ahead.
The Q-tards are not waking up, dude. The Q-tards, no matter what happens, like, it's all fucking... Everything's happening behind the scenes, guys. When's the next drop? If the Q-tards are waking up, it's really bad for Trump.
Yes, Hulk Hogan said faces change, nothing else. I agree completely with Nick that Trump is done. He's just done. He called us stupid. Don't forget that ever, and said he doesn't need our support. Like, okay. And also, Alex gets breaking news. Nick said earlier he plans on running. This is breaking news. Only Alex finds breaking news like this. Nick, that would be amazing. My question is, can you please hurry up?
How long for Alex gets mad at this guy?
Thomas Matthews president and you were vice president. Could you imagine you fixing Israel? That would be
well,
like
Nick's too young, but he might be president. He might be president someday. So, so you want Nick to run for Congress?
I would love him to help our government from whatever level he could.
All right, thank you, Brian. Cameron in North Carolina. Cameron, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Appreciate you guys having me on the air. It's an honor to speak with both of you.
Honor to talk to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, and big shout out to Nick for waking me up. Thank you. My question is, Trump planned to run in 2014, 2015. Do you think that it was intentional when he said that Epstein would have trouble coming later, that his administration would go on to arrest Epstein and then Epstein would eventually die? Do you think that was calculated? That question is for Nick, but I'd love to hear Alex's opinion as well.
Do you think Trump had Epstein killed?
I think it's certainly possible. There's this funny clip from Bill O'Reilly's show where Bill O'Reilly goes, Epstein got arrested under Biden and he was persecuted by Mayorkas or not Mayorkas, Merrick Garland. And he's with this journalist. They go, nope, that happened in 2019. So I wonder how many people even know that whole thing happened under Trump and Bill Barr. When you look at the coincidences, it's really interesting, isn't it? Bill Barr's father hired Epstein, or may have hired him at the Dalton School, gave him his first job. Then his son, Bill Barr's the attorney general. It's under him that Epstein is charged again. It's under his jurisdiction that Epstein is.
And Donald Barr wrote a book about pedophilia.
There's so many weird connections with Epstein, bro. Doge with another gifted 5. Damn, Doge. Oh, man, Doge throwing out, what is that, 20 gifts now, Doge? Or 25? Fuck, I've lost count. Oz Vander, The Heavy Heart Show, Brian Ferry, Kensi Sensei. I'm retarded. Lord of these Huts. Okay, another great name. That's another great name. Welcome to the team, everybody. And say thank you to Doge, who's being very generous, Doge. Jesus, Doge. What is that, 20, 25? I lost count already, brother. Thank you for all the gifted memberships, man. Everybody say thank you to Doge if you got a free membership from him.
Exactly. Yeah, he wrote that science fiction story mirroring the Epstein blackmail ring. So, yeah, I don't think it's far-fetched. And it was Alex Acosta, the labor secretary, that gave Epstein the deal back in 2006. Epstein got...
That's very nice of you, Doc. That's very nice. We do need to learn to disagree on things as a population, as a people. without getting so heated. It seems people are so in their little bubbles, their little echo chambers these days that it's really triggering for somebody to have a different opinion. So that shows that's a sign of maturity there, Doc Jeffrey.
Got charged the first
Trump
time.
promoted him a decade later after the cover-up to that. And then he resigned over it.
That's right. And then in 2019, when Epstein killed himself, Acosta.
The membership gets support the channel. It helps me get paid so I can keep fucking making the show. So memberships basically get you nothing but knowing you're supporting the show. So the show stays around.
Became a member.
Well, Alan, I guess I got to be nice to you now, Alan. Jesus. Thank you, Alan. I appreciate you. And it's okay if we disagree, Alan. I'm sorry I called you a moron, Alan. I forgot what I said about you, Alan. I think I called you a retard, but it's okay, Alan. It's okay. We can get through it. Yeah, there may be a point, though, where because I get usually so few members, I might turn on member chat for like 30 minutes out of a 2-hour episode to try to encourage people to become members. So that might be one of the rewards you get for being a member is if I turn on member-only chat on the live streams, you'll actually still be able to chat. But other than that, yeah, it's just to support the channel. But let's get back to it. Thank you. Welcome, Alan. Appreciate you.
Who really had no business even being there. He was the attorney for the Southern District of Florida. Gets promoted to be labor secretary, which is very...
Yeah, you do get to send like free... If you're a member long enough, you get to send free stickers and free like super chats and stuff like that. So there are perks. I don't know all of them off the top of my head. Thank you, Matt Hogan.
Even super chatted $3.36. Thanks for the late night entertainment ping.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for hanging out, man. Being part of the fun. And thanks for the super chat, brother. Appreciate you.
Bizarre fit, not really a good fit. Then Epstein commits suicide and Acosta resigns when there's all this scrutiny over the sweetheart deal from the first round of charges.
Yeah, I don't know how the icons and emojis shit works, Sneak King. If there is, I don't know how to do that shit, but I'll look into it. But I do think you get to send stickers and stuff. I mean, obviously YouTube's live, like it's not as cool as Twitch. I don't use Twitch, but I know Twitch has got more bells and whistles with all that shit than YouTube does, for sure.
There's all these times.
But I also might eventually start doing like member-only streams. Like once a week, I'll do like a member-only stream. So just because you're getting nothing now doesn't mean you won't get something in the future. I just don't know what I'm going to do yet.
Those are just two of the connections, Bill Barr, Acosta, but there's also Howard Lutnick. There's also Alan Dershowitz. There's Peter Thiel. I mean, there's a lot of connections there between Trump and Epstein. So I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that Trump had him killed. Or
I don't know if it is my most views of all time, Chase, because I hit 400 talking about Tim a couple weeks ago. So I don't know if I got over that that live stream. I have hit 1,000 plus. I've hit 1,000, but that was on a premiere. When I premiered my interview with Alex, I hit 1,000. But on a live, it's pretty close to my biggest live. Pretty close.
Close to Trump had him killed. And maybe that's why, maybe Trump killed him. Maybe that's the real cover up. You never know.
Jerome in Michigan, you're on the air with Nick Fuentes. Go ahead, Jerome.
Hey.
Yeah, I don't plan on streaming on Twitch. I don't think I'll last long on Twitch, but I need to do this more often. Go follow me on Twitter, because there is a possibility at some point YouTube might do something to this channel. You never know. But if you follow me on Twitter, wherever I stream from, you'll know. And I do plan on multi-streaming, just not to Twitch. Maybe to Rumble, Twitter, and Kick or something like that.
Can you hear me?
I can go ahead, Jerome.
Hey, so I just want to say, really just shout out to both of you guys. I'm a huge fan. Really like the way that this conversation went, because I was almost a little concerned on Twitter when I thought it was a good debate, because I love you guys both. Started off listening to Alex Jones, moved on to listening to Nick Fuentes.
$50. You should do some member-only uploads and then release them for the rest of subscribers a few days later. I've seen a lot of content creators do that.
Yeah, I've done that before. You have the option to release something as a members-only video. I think Doge, if I get enough members at a certain point, which, I mean, you might put me there, Doge, because I think you just gave me 25 members. I will probably start doing one stream a week or something. Doing at least one thing a week that's members only, whether that would be like a weekend stream or something like that. But there's never been enough members to really make that worthwhile to do a stream just for the members. But if we're over 100, 200 members, something like that, yeah, that's something I'll probably start doing. So, and thank you for the 50, Doge. Thanks, man. Dude, don't spend too much, Doge. That's the only rule. Don't spend more than you can afford, brother. But I really appreciate you, dude. Thank you so much.
really it's not much of a question. It's more of a comment. I just personally don't really understand why so much of the Trump base is giving him even like a shadow of a doubt. I mean, he's literally broke almost every fucking promise, at least since 2024, let alone 2016, right? And I feel like there's a level of almost they think that like eventually he'll like honor his promise and he'll live up to what he promised. And
I think it's a fear thing. They're so afraid of the other side that they just like they run to the next thing that, you know, it's honestly they're so scared of the left that they'll put up with Trump no matter what. Like he's their little daddy to save them from the left. And then you know, they'll never admit that Trump's fucking terrible because it fucks with their worldview. They're fucking terrified, man. They're terrified of these crazy lefties, man.
Like every time, like how many fell for it again awards are they going to win before they realize that he's controlled opposition, in my opinion?
Well, this is where I could actually debate Nick.
Is he controlled opposition, or is he just a piece of shit who never believed anything he said and is just in it for the power and the wealth that will come from holding that office? Does that make him controlled opposition or just a fucking piece of shit, another crook? You know?
I appreciate your call. They dismantled border enforcement. They've
Could be
scaled
controlled
up.
opposition.
And yeah, it's less than Obama did and less than he did before because they didn't have the enforcement. They, from what I've seen in my sources, they're really trying to scale that up. So 96% shutdown on the border coming in, scaling up deportation. Is that really a fair attack on?
Guys, you want me to get merch? You want me to be like coffee, not coffee, fucking, the quartering? You want me to be like the quartering and fucking shilling some shirts every 10 seconds? There will be a point where I'll probably do some shirts or something like, but it'll be like special occasions. I don't want to be doing merch and bothering people with merch all the time. But yeah, if the show gets bigger and a bunch of people want some merch, I'll do some limited fucking merch runs. But yeah, I don't want to bother people with ads and shit like that. I don't even want sponsors on this show. Like there are very few sponsors I would take. It would be like Farmer's Dog or like something I really believe in. You know, Fresh Pet. Come sponsor me, Fresh Pet, Farmer's Dog. I'm open. But mainly I just want this show to be funded by the fans. And yeah, so we don't need to do a bunch of ads. And, you know, if people are super chatting and sending becoming members, I don't need to sell merch either. But if people want merch, then, you know, I could think about it at some point.
On Trump, I mean, he is saying, oh, we're going to keep people here with, you know, for farming visas and things. So he has gone back there. But, I mean, in general, is Trump really breaking his promise on the border, Nick?
I did merch like way back in 2018. I did some shirts and I had 3 people buy them. I mean, it was a much smaller audience back then, but it's like, you kind of need a really big audience to really sell enough merch to make it worth the time of developing the merch. But I got a guy, P Money. P Money's been telling me forever that he wants to help me do merch. So I'm sure at some point it'll happen. I'm not focused on that right now. I'm focused on just trying to do as many shows that are decent, doing a decent show every week and you know, getting enough people to watch this that, you know, the show can be successful, which I think we're on our way to doing that. So, and it's thanks to the regulars who are here every night supporting the show, smashing the thumbs up and sending super chats, you know. You guys rock, man. It's really appreciated. And let's get back into it. We're almost done with this. I think after this, I'm just going to, because I'm already almost 3 hours in reacting to this thing. So anything I was going to talk about today, I'll just push it over to tomorrow's show. And whatever else happens tomorrow, I don't know. We'll see what happens in the news tomorrow. But I'll definitely be here tomorrow at 9.
100%, yeah.
And
the reason why, I mean, look, I agree with you. It's miraculous what he did at the border. Border crossings are like 0, which is unheard of. And that would have been good in 2017, but it's 2025. A lot of people don't have the perspective that you and I have. Illegal immigration was so bad then, 10 years ago, that we elected Trump. Then we had 4 years of Biden where 10 million people come in. Now they close the border. That's too little too late. He promised mass deportations. Closed border, that should have been a given. That should have been a given from the beginning. Now they're giving us closed border. They promised mass deportations. We're 6 months in. They haven't even started. And they go, well, you know, that's going to happen later. I mean, when is that going to happen? And
that's a good point. There's a lot of fucking... Everybody gets real upset, too, as soon as it starts getting ugly. Like the deportations, you know, Joe's like, oh, why are you deporting the construction workers? It's like, are they here legally? If they're here legally, they're fine. If they're not, then they probably should go. And we need to replace them with either Americans or legal immigrants that should be paid as much as the average American would make as well, to make sure that shit's not being gamed. So, yeah. I understand that point. Like, yeah, okay, so it's nice you shut down, all the fucking illegal crossings. But what about all the people that are here illegally, the millions and millions and millions of them? They'll never be able to get them all out, dude. It's like almost impossible at this point. So I don't know. And if you did, it would be so unpopular. It would, it'd be all the media would be talking about, and we'd have fucking ICE protests on the streets, like what we saw in Los Angeles every fucking weekend. But it would be worth it. If you came illegally, then you should be sent back home, dude.
Super chatted $2, Kazariah.
Is it Kazariah or Kazaria? Laika's revenge. You're gonna one of these days. I'm telling you, find me a 10 to 20 minute video that covers the topic, dude. I don't have time on my free time, dude. Sorry.
By the way, here's why people are concerned. Maybe you'd be willing to say, they'll do it next year. They'll do it in a couple of years. Will they? In the middle of the midterms, Joe Rogan says, well, we only want the criminals out. The All In podcast, the Tech Bros, they're going to say, we only want the criminals gone. Look, suffice to say, it ain't happening. So until it happens, people need to be pissed off and saying, look, closed border, that was the promise you made in 2017 that you never made good on. Now we're down 10 million illegals just under Biden. We got to get those numbers up. And until they start, and they lied. I mean, they started in the beginning of January, they said daily deportations, daily arrests, the numbers are going up. Then they stopped publishing the numbers because they're so bad. ICE has not published any deportation numbers since Trump got into office.
Is it because they're not deporting enough people, or is it because it just gets so much pushback when you release that? You get ICE protests, you get cities getting burned down. You get cops getting rocks thrown at them. So maybe it's better you just do it and don't release the numbers. I don't know. Is it that bad though? Is ICE not fucking deporting enough people? I gotta look into that. I know that the amount of people that need to be deported, it's almost impossible to do that. Like you'd have to do a ridiculous amount of people every day to be deported, to hit the 5 million or whatever that came in under Biden. It's tough. It's tough. It's an ugly situation. And the Democrats know it's ugly. That's why they let it happen.
Literally suppressing the numbers because they're that bad.
I hear you. I want to get to the last 5 calls. Great discussion here. Riley in California, you're on the air. Question for Nick. Go ahead.
Hello. I would just like to ask Nick a question. So I'm just wanting to know why Nick took a $500,000 Bitcoin donation from a French Jew in 2020, and then immediately changed his viewpoints on Russia and things like that. So I just kind of want to know, Nick, what's going on with that?
Yeah, well, it's $250,000 actually. Now it's worth a lot more. It was 13.5 Bitcoin. If you want to know the truth about it, I've talked about it before. I didn't know the French donor. If you know anything about him, he was a computer programmer or a hacker. He had a degenerative neurological condition. By the way, all of this I found out in the news. I got 2 emails from him. In August of 2019, he sent me, or excuse me, 2020, he sent me an email and said, hey, what's your Bitcoin address? I want to send you some money for your birthday. I gave it to him. He sent me $1,000. December 8th, 2020, I get an email from him. He says, hey, I sent you some Bitcoin. I said, oh, cool. Check my wallet a couple days later, it was $250,000. I emailed him back. I said, yo, thank you so much. Let's get on a call. Never heard back.
Do I need to put a Bitcoin address out there? Yeah, I mean, it is a little shady, man. It sounds a little shady, but it's also possible as a fucking streamer that's dependent on your audience to support you, that you would just accept random donations. And the problem with that is it could be something shady. It could be somebody, trying to pay him to push a fucking talking point or whatever. But it also could just be random. But it is, it's worth asking the question, like, who was the person?
And I find out through Chainalysis, which is like, it's like a CIA-backed crypto investigative thing. They did research. They found it was some hacker, and there was a, what do you call it, when a person dies? In France, they found out he killed himself in some hotel room. So I didn't know the guy, never talked to him. My position on Russia is always...
Okay, so somebody sent him $250,000 worth of Bitcoin. Now it's worth God knows what, because this is obviously a while back. And then the person died, so he was just giving out his money before he died. Damn, that's very convenient. Very convenient. Oh man, I wonder what 250,000 worth of Bitcoin is worth now.
It's been the same.
Probably
I don't know
worth a
what
lot
position
more
you're
now,
talking
ain't it?
about, but
Yeah, but
he
I
had
mean,
no
I got a
influence
$9
with
million
Russia.
Bitcoin, and they investigated me. I never
Jesus Christ. Everybody's getting these giant Bitcoin donations, huh?
knew who gave it to me. And so now I kind of hear from the caller, you work for Israel. I mean, that is preposterous.
Well, he's saying I work for Russia, but
Well, that's the thing. It is suspicious when people are getting that big of a donation. You know, it's one thing if your audience is buying your products and your audience. Now, I'm not saying either of these guys are fucking shills that somebody paid them to say anything. I'm not saying that because it's very believable. Also, it could have just been a viewer that's very wealthy that decided to donate. Like, MDE. MDE got some random dude to give him $1 million to make the show just because he's a fan. He happened to be an angel investor and he's like also a fan and he just gave. So sometimes that shit happens. But it's also a little suspicious. Like if that same thing happened to, like, say, the Young Turks, would you be saying, "Oh, it's ridiculous to question it"? You'd be going, "No, it's a little funny." Be getting a donation that fucking large, but it's still in the realm of possibility. But the problem with stuff like that is like, how do we even know unless the person comes out and says, "Yeah, I'm the one who sent it to you," or the people are able to do some like forensics and trace it back to a well-known fucking account that they know who owns that Bitcoin account. You know, that's why it's a good way to fucking do some shady shit. You never know.
But I mean, look, my position on Russia.
Jewish hacker. I mean, it's you know.
Oh yeah,
$1.5 million plus now. ST. That's how much. So he got 250,000. What year? I don't even know what year he got it. He might have said. I just missed it. But that would be worth $1.5 million now. $1.5 million plus. Whoa. Man, Bitcoin. It's insane how much Bitcoin's worth. And then I was seeing these documentaries about all these Bitcoin plants they have, mining facilities, Bitcoin mining facilities they have in Texas. And I think one is like Garland, Texas, outside of Dallas. And it's so fucking noisy. Like the people there that live around the fucking mining facility are like getting sick from like noise pollution because it's like nonstop crazy fucking amounts of noise being blasted into their homes. So that these giant companies can just mine Bitcoin all day. I don't know, man. It's just something about it seems kind of grimy, man.
Yeah. Oh, and the guy wasn't even Jewish. He was French. So, but yeah, I mean, look.
He hung up. I was going to him. I just love this stuff. What I say on air is what I am. I'm supported by listeners buying supplements and T-shirts. And Nick, you've got your supporters. This idea, it's like I said, the devil's biggest trick isn't that he doesn't exist. It's the second biggest. It's that independent people don't exist. No, I'm the captain of the ship. I think it's fair to say, Nick, you're the captain of your own ship. So I love these calls where like, oh, you really work for this person.
Yeah, and I'm with you. The reason I take the question is because I want to be transparent. People have questions about it. I give them the answers.
We took the calls. We don't screen them. Just they have a clear phone call. We screen that. If their phone's bad, we hang up on them. But yeah, no, we love those questions. Just like this, like, oh, you got this, you got that. You can see the show, folks. You know what it is. A few more calls, and we'll let Nick shut this down here. Appreciate everybody's time tonight. Joseph in Mississippi, then Jack, Sean, and Nick. We're going to shut this down. Go ahead, Joseph. You're on the air.
Yeah, so you were talking about previously the future of like America with the disintegration of the Republican Democratic Party in the future. And even then, like even with Trump being delusional as he is, he still has a 90% approval rating among Republicans. My question
among
is
neocons.
We got J.D.
Fucking
Vance.
neocons.
He came out of nowhere from Ohio with obvious connections with Peter Thiel. I just want to know what you think about him, what bodes in the future for him. And in a few years, we may be talking about him just like we're talking about Trump right now.
Yeah, I mean, I've met J.D. Vance. I've talked to him. Seems nice, articulate. Peter Thiel thing, I get, his companies and Palantir and all that. I'm not even defending him. I'm just simply saying compared to Google and Microsoft and Amazon with a real spy net, like they're like, oh, Thiel's inventing spying on you. It's like, no, he's like a foot-long alligator versus a 100-foot-long one. So, my deal is that the left's kind of attacked Thiel, so it's become this big thing. We're kind of joining in. I'm like, attack Thiel all day. I don't, anything to do with him. My point is, what about Eric Schmidt? What about Sundar Pichai? What about,
yeah, we should attack all of them. you know, all the fucking social media companies that are like destroying fucking speech, trying to control information and the way information flows, destroying their own algorithms, destroying their own search engines so that they can have more control over what people see and hear and what information they have available to them. Something needs to be done about that. That's going to be, I mean, if we're already in 1984, like that's going to be one of the things that gets us there quicker, right? But yeah, we need to, again, I don't know how you fix that. I don't know. Maybe one day you get a politician who's willing to actually like regulate them, actually go after the monopolies, actually care about Section 230 and distinguishing between a platform and a publisher and making platforms actually behave properly and not act like a fucking publisher when they're a platform, yada, yada. I don't know if anything will ever be done. It seems like they're just too powerful. They're just untouchable right now. So yes, it's just what we're going to have to live with, to be honest. That's what it seems like.
What is your take on who the big bad, I mean, who's the head of the AI technocracy, Nick Fuentes?
Well, I mean, the question's about Vance. I think Vance is their man. Whether they're the head of it or not, Vance is Peter Thiel's man. He's the man of all of the little tech bros, the All In podcast. He's their guy because it was Elon and Tucker, and it was Peter Thiel that called Trump and asked Trump to make him the VP. And
really, Tucker, Elon, Vance was their pick. I didn't know that. That surprises me. Tucker would, be picking Vance, but yeah, maybe I shouldn't be surprised. I don't know. I didn't give a shit about Vance. I didn't know anything about Vance. And then he became VP and everybody was like, he's so great. He's so great. Everybody was in their election euphoria where everything's fucking perfect, Yeah. I don't know. I don't trust Vance. I don't trust anybody in fucking office anymore. So
Vance brought in all that money from Jacob Hellberg and from the All In guys back in March and June of 2024.
No, you're right. There's no doubt. There's no doubt that Vance is a creature of the whole Palantir group.
Yeah, and I don't trust him. And I don't trust him because David Frum mentored him when he was at Yale. And David Frum said, this guy's going to run for president, and his superpower is his ability to connect with the white working class because of his story about Appalachia. And that's really what it is like he is a brand that at one time was going to be critical of Trump. He said Trump was a Nazi. Then Trump won, and Trump wasn't going away. So they rebranded and made him a nationalist. I don't trust him. I think he's a creature. I think he was grown in a laboratory. He is an entity. Vance is not even his name. We've disagreed about, I think you like him more than I do, but I don't trust him at all. I think he is a spook. And I don't trust him even slightly to carry the movement forward. So I will not be voting for him. And we are going to be fighting that battle. That was one of the.
I mean, what's the likelihood that, Vance is some independent maverick or he's, actually a creation of all these powerful interests who. Yeah, so I think Nick's on the money here. Of course, I could be wrong. He could be wrong, but it does seem that way. I don't trust Vance.
The reasons that I was against Trump in 24. Once he chose Vance, I said, I'm out. Like that was the thing that did it for me.
We need people that are just not connected to politics in any way. We need like janitors to just turn around and run for president and be like, oh, his whole history, he was just a janitor fucking cleaning people's toilets. I like this guy. Anybody with any connection to fucking DC or any sort of political family or anything, we got to stop voting for people like that, dude. We really do. Because the idea of like this political expert class that like we need because they know how to run things, complete fucking bullshit, dude. Complete bullshit.
Hordler super chatted $5. Vance is a career politician just like Ted Cruz.
Yeah, I agree, dude. I agree.
Officially, because they're already trying to get Vance to run in 28. And social media seems to be more pro-Vance than it is pro-Trump on the right-wing side. Like people are being paid to be more pro-Vance than pro-Trump, and they're astroturfing that.
I talked to Vance. He was nice. Told me the crazy part, like 3 months before they announced him, I've been to Detroit. Go back to the green room. He's there, and he goes, I hear you might be the nominee. He goes, I already got it. And I was just sitting there like, so he goes, yeah, I'm the nominee. And I was like, okay, I didn't even go say it later because I don't want to, but like very confident. Like he didn't tell me, don't tell people. He said, no, I've got the nomination. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, I had heard that rumor pretty early on. And yeah, it was just a weird choice because
we're gonna have to save that for another episode, Mimri, because I'm still not done with this one, dude, and I'm already fucking over 3 hours. So remember to let me know another episode when we got time. I'll pull that up.
To me, that was so damning because it was supposed to be the
But
loyalists.
why would he tell me, yeah, I am the nominee? I mean, I was like, and Case Geyser was right next to me. He saw it. And I was just
what was
like,
the timeline? When did he tell you that?
It was whenever TPUSA had me up there to Detroit, like 3 months before he got announced, whatever it was.
Oh, okay, so that was June of, yeah, that's interesting because they say Trump didn't make the decision until after he got shot at Butler.
Maybe
so.
4 months before. Well, whenever TPUSA was in Detroit. And I was like,
yeah, I think
I was like, you just told a journalist you're the nominee, and I didn't say it because I was just like, it was so. I walked out of there, I was like, wow, that's really crazy.
Probably just trying to get that story out there so it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If the media is a buzz, oh, Vance told me he's going to be the nominee, then it's sort of like in House of Cards,
Yeah,
you know,
that might
they
have
get
been
the
it.
media.
But he also was like, oh, we're really going to look into Obama stay-behind networks, the Countering Disinformation, Foreign Propaganda Act, all that. So we had a discussion about it. I was like, hey, you got to hit him here. This is the enemy.
Yeah, he told you what you wanted to hear. That's what they do. They tell you, they know what you want to hear, and they tell you that, but they have no intention of doing any of it.
You got to go after the NGOs. He's like, oh, yeah, don't worry, we are. So our main discussion was about cutting off NGO money. He's like, oh, yeah, we're on that. So I was just, I was just like, oh, wow. It was like, I heard you probably the nominee. He goes, oh, I've got it.
Alex needs to get some sleep, dude.
I'm a nominee. I was just like, oh, that's interesting. True story, folks. Ask JD Vance, he'll tell you. Jack in Wisconsin. A few more calls with Nick Fuentes. Go ahead, Jack.
Hi, I haven't heard either of you bring up the tweet at the time, and now X, from Virginia Jeffrey, the Epstein victim. She was trafficked. She cleared Trump and said Trump was good and endorsed him for president. She was recently assassinated, and I think that's a good point.
Nick said...
I don't think I've ever seen this one. Elon Musk. I am Virginia Roberts. I know Epstein client list. I met Trump when I worked at Mar-a-Lago. Hopefully our new president again. I didn't know she was a Trump supporter. I knew that she said that she had no evidence of Trump doing anything with Epstein. She knew that they were friends because Epstein said they were friends, but Trump was never there when she was there doing terrible shit or whatever. She never saw Trump fuck kids, basically. I met Trump when I worked at Mar-a-Lago. Hopefully our new president again. Much to be tight-lipped about on the list, but also wary who I tell. Only someone of your candor who knows what to do with this information could help. What are your thoughts and plans about setting things right in the Billionaires Playboy Club? Please DM me for more. Thank you, V. So that must have been before she, died. Is that confirmed to be her actual account? I mean... I'm guessing it is. So yeah, interesting. She was a Trump supporter. I didn't know that. I wonder how she would feel now if she was still alive about him flipping on the Epstein files. I'm sure she wouldn't be happy. Crazy.
An hour ago.
I didn't know that, though.
We've never seen any evidence of Trump involved. The question is then why is he covering up? And that's for Israel and the CIA. Not just her. A bunch of other confirmed victims said they never saw Trump at the island or any of that. But go ahead and make your point, Jack.
And my question for you two, kind of on that same line, for Mr. Fuentes, is that what do you think if he's holding back the evidence and the release because it has to deal with what other witnesses said, dealing with like shapeshifters and stuff, transdimensional demons? Would it be worth releasing if that type of stuff was also exposed?
Yeah, I mean, if it contained something like that, I mean, it would be worth releasing. I don't think that's one of those things where, if that exists, nobody knows. I mean, we can speculate about maybe it has UFOs and transdimensional stuff. Who knows? But
bro, they're protecting the DMT realm, bro, because that's really what's going on. Is we got astronauts sitting in fucking laboratories taking massive amounts of. They got DMT drips, and they're just on massive amounts of DMT, and they just go into the DMT world, and they get the blueprints from the DMT aliens. Come on, Alex, bring back that whole DMT shit, man. Isn't that who's running things? The DMT realm? They're working with the aliens now. Remember the big secret that he told Rogan? I believe it too, dude. I believe it, to be honest. I imagine there are like some fucking shady government organizations where they got dudes hooked up to a nonstop DMT drip so they can figure out if they're fucking talking to aliens or what the fuck's going on. Crazy.
I tend to think the more likely explanations are terrestrial in nature, as opposed to supernatural.
I was told a year ago and 6 months ago and 2 months ago, and I've got all the White House calls and all of it. And I was told early on, it ain't getting released because the CIA and Mossad were running it. I mean, he had billions sucked out of his bank account after he died. So this debate about whether he was intelligence or not, and I don't lessen the human trafficking in young girls, but it was money laundering, weapons. I mean, Epstein was a Mossad agent. Anything else, Jack?
Yeah.
No, I'm a big fan of you both. I was just bringing up like how you talked to Tucker before, Alex, about him having like, hands put on the demon stuff. And I think maybe I was like, maybe it's just too much for people's mind to handle. Their minds would break.
No, I hear you, Jack. Well, they did get the footage that James O'Keefe got out. I don't know if you saw it, Nick, but it's like all this black magic stuff and black magic books. Did you see that inside?
Yeah, at Epstein Island. I think they filmed inside the temple. And there's like this fucking weird equation about like power and influence, and there was some weird shit going on, bro. And yeah, I think Epstein was definitely an intelligence asset, or I think he was probably working for multiple agencies, the Five Eyes, however they say it. I don't know. I think it's convenient how everybody scapegoats Israel rather than being like, no, the problem is America. America's the real superpower. We're the ones fucking in charge, and we're to blame for a lot of this shit. And I'm sure Israel's doing terrible stuff too, like every other fucking nation is. Every nation has some shitty fucking shady intelligence agency doing despicable fucking things. And ours just happens to be the worst of them all. All right, I'm going to have to end it here, boys, because we're at 3 hours now. It's been fun. This is a great episode. There is still more. If you want to watch, go follow Alex on X and all the other platforms and shit. I think there's another 20 minutes left of this interview, but I think we got the gist of it. It was a very friendly interview. It was very friendly. I thought it was going to be a heated debate, but of course not. It was a friendly interview. And I got to give Nick credit. He was a lot of his points I agree with. I still have a hard time trusting him because January 6th and because the identity politics stuff and the cat lady stuff, which I was going to get to that, the cat boy stuff. When he's You're like, oh, you don't even, son, I did all going on dates with this weird fucking guy. So around this time period is when I'd like, Nick Fuentes, I don't like this guy. But look, I'm going to give him credit where it's due. He made a lot of great points. He does seem like a smart guy. He's a young kid. He's probably made a lot of dumb mistakes. Stop grifting to the racial shit. Stop being obsessed with the identity politics stuff, which I think he's moving away from now, if I'm correct, which is a smart move. But he'll always have that label of white nationalist and white supremacist and all that just because of his edgy talk, which he was probably just doing for views in the first place. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. Most of these people aren't even really racist. That's the fucking dumb part. You get labeled as a racist, you're not even really a racist. But in his case,
Andrew Wilson,
he should have been smarter.
$5. Not sure what Epstein is, but what I do know for sure is he is a diddler.
He is a diddler. He's a dead diddler. He did do a lot of diddling. And the question is, how many diddlers were diddling? And if we could just, get some answers to how many diddlers were diddling, we'd all be a lot happier. I thank you for the 5, brother. Yeah, fun show. Thank you, guys. We'll see you back tomorrow at 9. I did release a clip earlier today, so if you want more, check out the channel. There's a clip that I edited together, which I think a lot of you will enjoy. And we'll see you here tomorrow at 9 o'clock or 9:15, somewhere around the 9 o'clock time Central. Thank you, guys. Much love. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Please subscribe and hit the like and ring that bell if you want notified. Here's some other videos to watch that you might like or you might not. Have a great day, my internet friend. I hope I'll see you once again. Please subscribe and hit the like and ring that bell if you want notified. Have a great day, my internet friend. I hope I'll see you once again. Please subscribe and hit the like and ring that bell if you want notified.